Brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. New York City's racetrack, Aqueduct, fitting day one of the winter meet. New Year's Day program in full swing. And in Hot Springs, Arkansas, sun's out. Gorgeous day. Road to the Kentucky Derby through Oaklawn begins today with the Smarty Jones Stakes. We have on-site coverage there, and we are here at Aqueduct alongside New York Racing Association analyst Andy Serling. I'm Lafitte Pinkai. Happy New Year to all of you. Happy New Year to you, my friend, and welcome back. How was your time off?
It was almost good enough that it hasn't been ruined by you apparently appearing here this weekend. When does Greg get back, actually? No, it was very nice.
Resolution to be nicer to your colleagues clearly didn't stick.
Yeah, I didn't. Who said I had that resolution? I don't recall that at all. No, it is nice to be back. I enjoyed my time away. It is nice to see you, as a matter of fact. Big month for the Dodgers while I was gone.
You like that?
Well, it's only going to make their first round loss next year that much more disappointing.
$700 million?
And you didn't get any
for one
of it.
guy? You don't know what I get.
That's true.
You don't know how involved I was in those
I hope
negotiations.
I hope the Japanese pitchers is better than you are. I hope he's as good a pitcher as you are at your job. If he's that good, he might be worth half of it.
Resolution to be nicer to his colleagues. I rest my case as we are 2 minutes into the broadcast. And we still haven't gotten to the America's Best Racing's Race of the Week. And it is the Smarty Jones from Oaklawn Park. Increased purse, increased distance, 300,000. Mile and a 16th now. Used to be a mile. 21 Kentucky Derby points available. Number 7, Just Steel, the 9-5 morning line favorite for trainer Dwayne Lucas. Just Steel. Andy, his last win, it was fine. I thought he beat some nice horses. He's not flashy, more blue-collar type Just Steel from what we've seen, I think, thus far.
My New Year's resolution is to be even meaner to morning line makers, even though I couldn't possibly make a morning line. I can't see this horse being favored in here. I understand he ran a big fig last time, and he actually was just a little bit higher than that maiden win. 6.5 furlong figs could be a little tricky, but I think he's got a big distance question to ask. You know, it's really funny. Stretching out off a win, do you know that Wayne Lucas is 0 for 7 over the last 5 years? The amazing thing is that he's only tried it 7 times, right? I mean, the 0 for 7 is a random number, but less than 2 horses a year. In fact, 1.5 a year. And he strikes me as a very talented sprinter. Not sure he's a router. It's a very competitive race.
Yeah, deep competitive. The Smarty Jones, first local step towards the Arkansas Derby. As promised, we do have boots on the ground at Oaklawn Park as we welcome in Paul Lo Duca, Richie Migliori standing by live at Oaklawn. Gentlemen, a very happy New Year to both of you.
Happy New Year to both of you as well. And start towards the first Saturday in May with the Smarty Jones today. And, you know, there's going to be a couple horses in there that are going to get played from the Brad Cox barn. But obviously, Just Steel in there has got a big shot as well.
Well, listen, we wasted no time, right? Turn the calendar page. Horses are 3. We're going to start these preps. Beautiful sun-drenched day here. A little bit chilly. I brought out the heavy artillery, Paul. I got my coat, my hat, everything. Who are you looking at strongly in the Smarty Jones?
Well, I thought Catching Freedom is a horse that's going to get played for Brad Cox. Has had trouble in a couple of his starts. Was not be able to overcome it. And Christian Torres gets them out. You know, at 9-2, I think the horse would be around 7-2. Just Steel ran a giant number last time, and as a horse that's always had that kind of talent, we'll see if that is repeated, because if he repeats that last number, going a route of ground instead of sprinting, he's going to be tough. And obviously, Joel Rosario and Steve Asmussen in charge.
Yeah, can't count them out. Steve Asmussen yesterday, 4 winners on the card, 3 of them ridden by Joel Rosario. We've got some interesting pedigree plays. The 1 Informed Patriot, another Steve Asmussen runner, is a full to Spun to Run, a Breeders' Cup Mile winner. And I always find it interesting. These riders start so early, you know, searching for their Triple Crown mounts. You got Flavien Prat in here to ride Gettysburg Address, and they're taking the blinkers off after he was keen last time, Paul.
Yeah, you know, I was talking to Flavien when he came in, and I asked him, what do you think? He's like, listen, I had heard the horse worked well with the blinkers off. You know, Flavien obviously going all around. He was not on this horse in the morning, but he had heard that this horse had been working well, came out here to ride. I think that's a plus.
Guys, it's going to be interesting. It'll be a fun day here. The atmosphere is always good here at Oaklawn Park.
Exciting day of thoroughbred racing, kicking off the new year. Much more with Paul and Mig from Oaklawn. Today's races, the rundown, the schedule, as always, brought to you by Claiborne Farm. Late pick 4 is next. Aqueduct starts in the 5th, about 12 minutes out. Race 7 kicks off the cross-country pick 5 at Oaklawn. You'll see races 4 through 10. Late pick 5 begins in the 5th. As mentioned, the Smarty Jones race number 9. Just getting started on America's Day at the Races. Horses are in the paddock for the 5th. That late pick 4 just around the corner. There's I Feel the Need, heavy favorite, 3-2, 11 minutes out to the 5th at the Big A.
Wet Pink surging to win the Coaching Club American Oaks.
Forte to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Eclipse champion Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Adelphi Racing Club offering a truly personal thoroughbred ownership experience.
You'll have a lot of fun and excitement, and you'll meet some great people. All the folks I've met so far at Adelphi have just been super, and I've picked up some new friendships along the way.
We're not just a syndicate, and our members aren't just investors, we are partners. Contact us online to get a taste of the Adelphi difference.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Coverage is always brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years in the usual, unusually well. Race 5 Aqueduct. Updated odds, starter allowance. Fillies and mares, older fillies and mares. They're all 1 year older now. Mile and an eighth. Andy, who'd you come up with here?
I like the horse we're showing on the screen right now, the number 6. I think we're not showing another one. I'm sorry, wrong TV. I like the 6 Starry Midnight here. I understand the favor to feel the need for Linda Rice may win, but her last race was so bad that I could never endorse her. And if you like her at a short price, you're certainly supposed to look at Miss Christie, who ran better than she did last time, and her PPs are pretty ugly coming in the race in the dirt. Whereas Starry Midnight was one, I feel like she's an all-or-nothing type horse. Mm-hmm. She started out, she had a very visually impressive race in her first race, but maybe it's one of those no trips and slow races. And Linda Rice and Lady Sheila purchased her, and Linda told me she wanted to stretch her out. I thought her last race was a big improvement. She showed more speed, she was on top of a fast pace, and now Linda gets a chance to stretch her out in a very ho-hum field. To me, she's either not very good, and she'll just run nowhere, which is fine, or she's just going to be better than these horses. I'm going to hope it's the latter.
That's the race on paper. Let's see how they look in person as we say hello to Maggie Wolfendale, our eyes and ears downstairs. Maggie, Happy New Year. What are you seeing in the paddock?
Happy New Year to both of you as well, and wishing all the horses, the thoroughbreds, the racehorses at least, a happy birthday too. As we'll check in with both runners from the Linda Rice barn as she clinched another meet title at the conclusion of racing yesterday with the Aqueduct Fall Meet. And taking a look at her heavily favored number 4, I Feel the Need, she's one that really takes a while to get into stride. So I think getting back out to this mile and an eighth, a 2-turn configuration, is going to help her. And you look at her and you just get that feeling too. She's big. She even kind of has a lumbering walk, which I think carries over to all of her gait. So for me, that's just a horse that is going to appreciate this type of configuration. So she looks even better too than her last race. When she came in, she just wasn't carrying the normal quote unquote Linda Rice conditioning. She feeds her horses well, and it often shows. And she just looked a bit light to me. And today there's a marked improvement with that as well as in her coat. Now, Linda's other horse is second off of a layoff, Starry Midnight. I've always thought that when looking at this horse, longer is better. So she's going to try this 9 furlongs for the first time, and I think it makes a lot of sense for this daughter of Connect out of a Street Cry mare. I wish she looked a bit stronger and maybe a little bit better in her coat, but that being said, she does look incredibly fit now, second off the bench. So both Linda Rice charges in here, Lafitte, deserving a long, solid look.
And that man will ride one of the Linda Rice charges, Jose Lezcano. Maggie, thanks so much. Meantime, with riders up in a post-parade brewing, we remind you and invite you, get signed up. Join us at Naira Bets. Play all the action on our program while earning up to a $200 deposit match bonus. Sign up with promo code MATCH200. Earn up to a $200 deposit match after your first deposit. Bet any track anywhere, anytime. Join now, NairaBets.com to earn your $200 deposit match. Riders up, post-parade here. How many races will Linda Rice win in 2024?
Less. Well, she won over.
Yeah, sure.
She won more than 0.8 races a day.
Wow.
I mean, I don't think people can necessarily appreciate how incredible that is.
On this circuit against
Right.
that competition. Amazing. And she has 2 live runners here. There's Miss Christie, 2 lifetime wins, both on grass.
Well, if you like the 4, you're certainly supposed to look at her. Her best form, though, is on the grass. Her dirt races are suspect, except for last time.
Justin Nyquist, distance a question?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Well, she won a mile 2 races back. I just don't know how really good she is. That figure sticks out like a sore thumb.
Ghostly Girl, 5-2. A little one geared, little one paced.
Yeah, she's got a little speed. I don't understand who's betting her 5-2. I didn't like her at all.
I Feel the Need, 1-2 for Linda Rice, 7-5, 4 minutes out.
She runs her race 2 back. She will win this race. She runs her last race. She won't.
Eric Hensel rode the record breaker yesterday afternoon. Dolce Sarah, 1 for 23 lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, she's justifiably the longest shot on the board. She just doesn't have a race that's competitive.
And the aforementioned Starry Midnight, 4-1 with Jose Lezcano.
I believe she'll be forward, and I'm hoping she appreciates the stretch out. I like her. I think she's a very generous price right now.
Late pick 4 gets started here. Post time 3 minutes. So we welcome in Jonathan Kinchin joining us from Saratoga. JK, there's the racing today at Aqueduct in Oaklawn, and strategically how you'll be playing that with all that in mind and a very big football game for your beloved Longhorns this evening.
Yeah, I just got done yelling at my wife. Not really yelling at my wife. I was giving her a hard time. I said, if Duke was playing basketball tonight, you would be wanting me to do nice things for you. Texas is playing tonight. Let's tighten up a little bit here. Jeez Louise. Honestly, the real important thing is I didn't think Andy was coming back. I thought he moved to Jamaica. I thought he was going to get dreadlocks and do other things and never come back. But it's glad to see that Andy's made it back and that we agree a little bit here, too. I like the 6 towards the outside. There's a horse that has a little bit of tactical speed in a race that doesn't have any speed at all. And when I say a little bit of tactical speed, it's because no one else has any speed in here, and I'm trying to come up with someone who I think can take advantage of this paceless race. Drawn towards the outside. They're all just kind of the same horse in terms of speed figures, so I needed to try to find someone who I thought kind of had a little bit of a tactical edge, and for me, it was the 6 Starry Midnight, drawn towards the outside. And like I said, that's great, and hopefully this horse wins at 4-1, but most importantly, I'm just glad that Andy's back.
Aren't we all, JK? Is looking forward to getting up on the desk with both Laffit and Andy a little bit later. But taking a look at some inside runners in here, Justin Nyquist, she's going to try the 9 furlongs for the second time in a row. And I thought at least going into that race, I thought she projected to be a bit more forward than what she was early on. And to me, she just looked uncomfortable being down on the rail inside of horses and kind of wrangled back, if you will. So I wonder if they do choose to be a bit more aggressive with her, as she was. Once she got on track here, she was bouncing and on her toes and moving really well for her, a filly that I am fairly familiar with. Sorry, she's now a mare. But I think she will be more forwardly handled, I hope, today to give her a better shot. And she's 12-1, but I'm also saying that knowing that she might not just be this level of horse. She's probably more of a cheaper claimer. As number 1, Miss Christie, she's kind of your typical horse that's more of a turf horse, but can run well on the dirt if she gets a little pace to close into. And I don't know if that necessarily happens here in this race. She looks fantastic overall. I mean, her and the 4 look the part, look the best of any of these in here. I just don't know if this type of situation suits her best. And again, probably we're not going to see her best on this surface, Laffit.
Yeah, Maggie brings up the pace, Andy. You got 2 questions. How do you see the pace unfolding? How fast do you expect it to be? And what Jonathan was asking about, eventually, your trip to Jamaica. Said he wasn't sure you were going to make it back.
The pace in Jamaica was quick.
The pace in Jamaica is not supposed to be quick.
Relative to the pace in this race, it was very fast. I mean, in pace, the trip went fast because we had such a good time. Nobody had a better time than our producer, Bobby Klatt, though. Bobby was in his element in Jamaica. No, it was a wonderful time, and really good people down there as well. And they went so out of their way to show us a good time and be very appreciative of the partnership we had. And it's nice to get involved with somebody racing that's appreciative of you being a partner. It doesn't happen enough in this game. It happened with them for sure.
The coverage was excellent. I enjoyed you and Raj. You know how I know that is that after what, like, I could say, like, I want to, like, I'd like to experience.
It was fun.
That
It
event.
really
Like,
was.
yeah.
You know, I mean, it's obviously a smaller track, but the backdrop is Santa Anita, right? It's with the mountains in the background, and just a great crowd, and met so many people at the races that are huge fans of Naira racing, and I can't say enough about what a great time I had. I mean, they showed us all around the island. We went to fun places, good people as well, and Bobby and Eldon. Eldon, of course, who works for us behind the scenes, which is a great job as a videographer. We just had a really good time, and I can't say enough about it. It was a great experience. Working with Raj was great. I mean, Raj and I have been friends for a long, long time, and I really think he's doing a terrific job for somebody who has next to no experience on the air. He's very comfortable. I mean, it's always a bit of a learning experience, but I'm really very impressed by the job he's done when he was here with us for a few days and down there as well. As far as the pace in this race, there isn't any. I mean, this is one of those races, and Jonathan will talk about it too, and where Timeform US rates at no speed. I think the 2 and 3 will go a bit, but you have to think that Jose Lozcano looked to go with Starry Midnight. She was chasing a relatively quick pace, going 6 furlongs last time, the most speed she's ever shown. And in fact, if she breaks sharply, I wouldn't be shocked if she was able to clear and get to the lead. I would certainly like that, and I'm hoping she runs a race today, but it's not going to be a race that's going to feature much pace up front.
For I Feel the Need, as you mentioned, which version shows up? 2 back, that win at Keeneland, impressive. That was Corey Lannery's 5,000th career win. Her most recent, not so much. She's even money for Linda Rice. It's post time. Time to kick off the late pick 4, race 5 live. Aqueduct, Chris Griffin, standing by.
Starry Midnight is in. All set. And they're off. Ghostly Girl has early speed from in between horses, is out in the 4-path, but Ghostly Girl is quickest. Justin Nyquist is trying to go with her as they work towards that first turn, but Ghostly Girl and Luis Rivera Jr. will cross over, gets the rail position and has the lead, is up by 3/4 of a length. Here's Starry Midnight to apply pressure from the outside and tipping right to the outside. Justin Nyquist gets right to the 3-path, is joined by Dolce Seta. They're 3rd and 4th. The 2 at the back, that's Miss Christie with the trailer. I Feel the Need. They're chasing Ghostly Girl, and Ghostly Girl takes them to the back stretches up by a full length. Comfortable as Jose Lescano, and Starry Midnight tracking from second. 3 wide still is going to be Justin Nyquist. A touch wide is Dolce Seta. No Choice is out in the center of the racetrack. 4 wide as they work up the back stretch, and second to last now is I Feel the Need with the trailer, Miss Christie. 25.35 for an easy opening quarter mile. Ghostly Girl trying to take them all the way. Starry Midnight apply some pressure to the outside. They went 50 and 4 for the half-mile time. Dolce Seta didn't want to run out in the far outside there. Has gotten over to the rail. Is now saving ground to the inside. Is in third. Under a drive is Justin Nyquist. Then comes Miss Christie in the blue cap from the back. I Feel the Need. Starts to get rolling from the back, but is still 4 off the lead. Ghostly Girl has had it her own way up front. Starry Midnight is in pursuit. Dolce Seta down towards the inside. The back markers are coming. Here comes the run from I Feel the Need. Is 4 wide, but coming after the leaders quickly. Miss Christie is in between horses. The trailer is Justin Nyquist. They went 116 and 1 for 3 quarters. Ghostly Girl is trying to gut it out here at the top of the stretch, and Ghostly Girl and Starry Midnight there nose to nose here. It's Starry Midnight to the outside. Ghostly Girl battles onto the inside. Miss Christie is weaving between rivals but running out of time. Starry Midnight is widening that margin now. To the outside, it's I Feel the Need, but it's going to be Starry Midnight. Starry Midnight chase that pace setter, and Starry Midnight gets the victory. I Feel the Need was second. Miss Christie and Ghostly Girl in 1 minute 54 and 4.
New year, and the same story for trainer Linda Rice. The beat goes on. Another win. Starry Midnight. Andy zeroed in on this one. Starry Midnight, 7-2 at post time.
And I imagine Jonathan is feeling similar than I do. We can't believe that we liked a horse that was a decent price at 7-2, and the race actually played out exactly the way it looked on paper. Her stalking an overmatched horse in the 3 who can't get the distance, and the number 4, the favorite, being badly pace compromised. And even though the 4 just ran okay in here, whatever real chance she had was badly compromised. When you have 2 horses that may or may not have sort of relative abilities, yet one of them can sort of be on top of an incredibly dawdling pace, and the other one's got to come from out the back door in a slow pace, you're going to have to be a lot better to be that other horse. And much like the last time, she wasn't really that much better than the 1.
Well done, Andy. JK, going to be your day. Starry Midnight here. UT later tonight. Every day at Oaklawn is Steve Asmussen's day. Closed out 2023 in style. 4 wins yesterday, including the Renaissance with Valentine Candy. And later today, he'll run a pair in the Smarty Jones. The road to the Kentucky Derby starts today.
Charlatan is back, and he turns it on with 1/8 of a mile to go. Express Train moves into second. Nashville dropping out of it, and then Collusion Illusion. What a spectacular return for Charlatan, who will romp in the run-happy Malibu Stakes by 4.5 emphatic lengths. Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new kid.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
This is Maxfield. This is a Maxfield foal. Maxfield, the G1 Breeders' Futurity and G1 Clark Hero by Street Sense. Maxfield foal. They're just like him. Walking, standing, looking perfect, and selling. This one made $500,000, the most by any freshman in 2023. Maxfield. He's the best in his field. Inquire now.
A very happy new year from all of us at America's Day at the Races. Coverage, as always, brought to you by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Visit NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app to get started. Fire up that account. Play the Oaklawn Racing with this fourth race upon us. Horses on the track. We're 2 minutes out. Check in with Paul and Richie on site.
Thanks, Lafitte. And you can see that Stud Lovin has taken a lot of the money here so far for Mike Maker and Ramon Vasquez. And it's kind of a tough read in here. I don't know if you want to take that low of a price. You and I are interested in the 6 in here in Vail for the Asmussens. And Stud Lovin, does have the best numbers, but there is a layoff line there too as well.
Layoff line and a track that's been proven demanding for horses off the layoff. I thought Vail was interesting because I like the reclaim from Steve Asmussen. You know, when trainers claim a horse back, to me it's a vote of confidence that there's something about that horse that's attracted to them. They feel like they can get the best out of him. He puts his son Keith Asmussen up. And this horse showed, I thought, improved speed last time, Paul.
Yeah, as you're seeing the post parade right now, you got the 4 in here going through. The 5 Mahoney Road for Cody Rosine is taking a little money. Harry Hernandez will be aboard. He's now showed up. A lot of people don't know Harry, a tremendous rider. Holds his tack at Turf Paradise and sometimes at Canterbury. Now Cody Autry has his book, so you're going to see him a lot here. Here's the horse that we like. I'm surprised this horse is 8-1.
I am too. I think he's way too big a price. And, you know, as we've seen from at least my 3 days here, Paul, long shots have been rolling home here. Not every race, but we've seen a lot of big prices come in.
Yeah, you know, I get it. The 6 was claimed for 16 non-2, and you have a horse like Stud Lovin that's never been, you know, this low in class, drops off my worry is drops off a good effort for 24,000, but the purse is nice.
Yeah, I mean, big purses here. You're getting horses from all different jurisdictions, and everybody is trying to get off to a good start at this meeting. I thought the 10 was a little bit interesting as well. John Ortiz off the claim. Ricardo Santana, seems like he's starting to come to life. I thought he had a real nice day yesterday. And with the returning good sprinter of Steve Asmussen.
Yeah, and the 9 is a California horse. So far, the California horses have been a little bit average. You know, Peter Miller had a decent one yesterday that ran second. But I don't know what to do with some of the California shippers so far. They have not been live. But you know, Stud Lovin is the horse to beat, but Mig and I are going to go with Vail here, Lafitte, and Andy. I don't see that big tan that you were supposed to get.
First of all,
you should have come back like a little bit darker.
First of all, for Paulie, I don't like that Richie was showing him up yesterday. Paulie had the coat on, and Richie was trying to be the tough guy, not wearing his coat. Get the coat on, Richie. Stop trying to be tough and make Paulie look bad. I can't believe my first race back at Oaklawn, the favorite isn't trained by Diodoro. That's like the biggest upset ever, right? It's Maker. Isn't Diodoro supposed to be favored in like every? I mean, I've been handicapping all the race at Oaklawn
Barn
through
not
next
going
week.
as well. Yeah.
No, but it's like he's got one of the, if not the horse to beat in virtually every single race. He's got some huge drop downs. He's like every race. So I just sort of always expect him to be favored, but not here.
Not here.
I don't know what to do. This is an odd Maker drop down. This is a total giveaway. You know, they come up here. The horse will be claimed by 20 people at Oaklawn. And, I mean, he's a layover on the figs, but boy, I don't know. These are tough horses for me to bet at short prices, but this horse lays over on the figs.
You're not kidding about the 20 people claiming at Oaklawn.
It's a frenzy.
A handful of days, they went over $1 million in claims.
It's a frenzy. It's like it's almost like Saratoga, if not Saratoga on steroids at times. Listen, it's great, big
it's
purses,
healthy.
and there's I get it.
It's a sign of healthy racing. Stud Lovin, number 8, 7-5 at post time. Matt Dinnerman standing by, the 4th on New Year's Day from Oaklawn Park.
Master of Arms, second to last. One back. Unstable Prince. Here's Unstable Prince going into the gate. We're ready to go. And they're off. They all broke as one.
Master of Arms up close to the pace. He's got the lead, attempts to clear off. Looks like he's going to, getting towards the rail here. And Master of Arms is the pacemaker by a touch more than a length. Mahoney Road takes the second spot with Stud Lovin' and Quick Buck, who's 3 deep on the course. A gap of 2 to Vage. Then comes Smaxilla. He's racing in midfield, a length better than Big Time Tegrity. Contrabandista finds himself between horses into the turn. Unstable Prince is with him. Permafrost was inside of that pair. Taps off of heels and drops to the back with Asset Basis. Around the forward turn, Master of Arms is still clear. The margin's a length. Stud Lovin' sent after him from second. Mahoney Road tried to get through on the inside, but it got tight in there. He had a slam on the brakes. Vale's about to pass him. He's 2 behind. Mahoney Road tries to re-rally. Quick Buck is dropped back. The others are well behind. It's Master of Arms down the lane with a 2-length edge as he kicks on. Vage on the outside is charging. Mahoney Road still down inside of him as Stud Lovin's beaten. 16th to go. Master of Arms is still in front, and Master of Arms is going to take him every step of the way. Master of Arms and Ricardo Santana Jr. a length and a half in front. Vale was second. Mahoney Road third. Stud Lovin' fourth.
Well, the 2 horses that just got claimed for 16 non-2, and like Andy said, the 8 was just really tough to trust in here on that drop.
And the 8 had every opportunity. Was it poised in a good position off of Master of Arms, who got very comfortable on the lead under Ricardo Santana. John Ortiz, another good start to this Oaklawn stand, a guy who grew up in the shadow of Belmont Park. Looked like our horse, Vale, was going to make a good run at it, just kind of leveled off a little bit late, but no doubt about the winner, and a disappointing effort by Stud Lovin', again, with no excuses.
No excuses at all. I think the final, I think it's 10-6-5. I want to say
and ladies and gentlemen, there is going to be
ran fourth. And there's a Stewart's Inquiry here.
Yeah, the 5-horse checked severely before the quarter pole, and it'll be interesting to see where that pressure came from. I actually thought it came from the 8-horse Stud Lovin', and who finished behind the 5, but Mahoney Road, the 5, did check severely right before the quarter pole.
Yeah, so we got an inquiry and an objection to the feet. Harry Hernandez claiming foul. I do not know who it's against right now. Matt Dinnerman is kind of announcing it, but it looked like the 10 was clear the whole way. So I don't think you have to worry about the winner. We might have to worry about the minors here.
And for our viewers, Paul, that just joined us on Bally SoCal in San Diego, lots going on. You just watched Master of Arms take down this 4th race at Oaklawn Park, first after the claim, John Ortiz. We'll get to those stats in a moment, Andy, but an inquiry, 10-6-5-8. Did anything jump out at you?
No, I'm deferring to what Richie said, where he thought maybe the 8 may have fouled, the 5 was steady, and in fact, if it was, then the 5 finished ahead of the 8. So the 5 is down on the inside right now, inside of the 10, and going.
Just took up.
I'll be honest with you. If anything, I would say that horse was trying to go into a hole and just wasn't there.
I'd have to see it one more time.
I mean, we can watch it again. I mean, this is their feed at Oaklawn, but I don't feel like that. You don't get the feeling that the 10 came over. I would say if something happened, it would be the 10 came over, but I just feel like that horse may have rushed into a hole that wasn't there.
Again, we'd love to see it once more. You were seeing what the stewards are looking at
Different
at
angles.
Oaklawn.
Here
This
we
is
go.
their feed, so we're watching the 5-horse here. Mahoney Road, green colors. What happens?
She's got her nose in there, but that doesn't mean there's room. I got to tell you, that's a very tough spot. I think Richie knows this 1,000 times better than I do. I don't think you can measure how much I know it relative to Richie. But a lot of those are sort of blind spots. And I'm curious if Richie feels like the 5 had room, because that's going to be the ultimate question, I think.
Richie?
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to judge from this vantage point. You know, it appeared that Harry Hernandez was talking to the Connection, saying that he felt like the winner came over and crowded him. But there is kind of a unwritten rule, and there's certain places that you don't go without the benefit of seeing some sort of a head-on the turn. It's really hard to kind of ascertain how much Ricardo Santana was off the rail early, but it was definitely that he was trying to go up inside of him. The point now is, was there enough room to attempt to go up inside of him?
Yeah, I got kind of confused because Harry Hernandez was saying something to Ricardo Santana, and I had thought that Harry was saying something to the point, hey, you cut me off a little bit. Then I just talked to Harry. Sorry, my thing was out. I was trying to get some info from Harry, and he said, no, Ricardo was okay. So I think now the the inquiry sign is down, Mig. I think this might stand because of that tricky corner, but Harry was saying that Ricardo was not at fault.
Okay, I mean, again, it was a little bit hard to kind of figure everything that was going on, but it looked like he had the idea to attempt to go up inside of him, got completely stymied, and then rallied on again for second. So the 5-horse Mahoney Road, certainly a horse to keep an eye on coming back. No excuses for your 6 Vail, and your winner gets it done wire to wire.
All right, so that was quick. No change. 10-6-5-8. We'll have the results, the prices. Pass those along as soon as they're available. Here, Aqueduct, Jonathan, Andy, like Starry Midnight, and you thought the price would be much lower than what turned out to be a post time.
I really did, because I thought a lot of people were more scared about how badly the 4 ran last time, and maybe a little scared about the race dynamics, but also intangibly, and I don't mean this in any way as a criticism of Eric Ansel, did fine here. He just was dealt a mediocre hand. Jose Lezcano is much more of Linda Rice's go-to rider than Eric Cancel. So I thought maybe people would see, I know they both rode the horse last time, and they might see that and think, oh, well, it's sort of like Jose Ortiz rides a lot first time, when Jose Lezcano is really kind of her guy, for winning race, has been for many, many years. That factor didn't come in. She made a very generous 940.
You get yourself into some trouble.
Yeah.
That guesswork about why jockeys wind up on certain horses
100%.
Without knowing what the story actually is. In this case, Lezcano winds up in the winner's circle. They pose for pictures, and Linda Rice, she spent a lot of time there in 2023. No trainers won more races in a year on this circuit. Broke the record yesterday, and now gets to start all over. Linda Rice with a win here moments ago as our coverage continues on America's Day at the Races.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus Beyer speed figures, a 3-time grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Great to have you with us on America's Day at the Races. Happy New Year. Coverage brought to you by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Visit NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app to get started. This was the scene yesterday, race 2. You'll see George's Vice, trained by Linda Rice, and this is shortly thereafter. Victory number 165 this year on the Naira circuit, a new record. Incredible.
It's been an amazing year for her, to say the least. And, talking about that, we run a little around 200 racing days a year. She's winning over 0.8 races a day in New York. I mean, there are a lot of days, even for Linda Rice, there's some days where she doesn't have horses in. And she's just consistently winning and also innovative, going to Kentucky. We've talked about this before. She went there a few years ago, and it bombed. She claimed a bunch of horses there, and they stunk. And people criticized her. People laughed about it. But she was right. It just didn't work out. Everything you do isn't wrong because it doesn't work out. Just because things you do sometimes are right and you didn't do the right thing. She went back the next year and had incredible success. She went back the next year and had amazing success, so much so that they effectively changed the rules in Kentucky on claiming, and make no mistake, because of Linda Rice. And when they're changing the rules for you, you're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They're changing rules to make it tougher for you. And she didn't do anything wrong. Nobody said she did. But they changed rules to make it tougher because of how successful she was. You're doing something right when that happens.
And congratulations, Linda Rice, with all those wins and setting a new record for most wins in a year on the NYRA circuit. And off to a good start here, already visiting the winner's circle on this New Year's Day. Meanwhile, at Oaklawn, just moments ago, who was this again? Master of Arms. Oh, yeah, John Ortiz, first half of the claim.
Yeah, I was saying to you, I'm glad that we didn't go through stats before the race because John Ortiz, I'm glad I looked this one up. Going into this race at Oaklawn off the claim, and a lot of the stats I look up at Oaklawn are specific Oaklawn stats because a lot of people pointing there, going there, trainer's not always easy to ship, etc. He was 2 for 43. With an 80-cent ROI over the last 5 years. Now he's 3 for 44. And, be interesting to see because he's a very good trainer. And maybe he's a guy that looked and thought, God, I've really kind of sucked with my claims. I got to do a better job if I'm going to be competitive there. It'd be interesting to see if this is the beginning of a bit of a trend for him.
Worked out on this occasion. The guys tucked up Vail a little bit, completing the exacta. Master of Arms, 10-6-5-8, race number 4. Oaklawn Park. Later this afternoon, the Smarty Jones, they are coming to pick you up, Andy Serling.
I hope they're coming to pick Mitchell Vitus up, our director.
What's the
straight jacket in there?
What'd you do in Jamaica? Do they have extradition? What'd you do?
Actually, I'm not going to get into it, but the scene in the airport was one of the more amusing ones. I'm not going to say if anything, Bobby got in any trouble or any. I don't want to cause any problems for him at work, but
he
tried to get us to put him in a wheelchair so he could get through security faster.
Bobby Klatt.
Yeah, it was embarrassing.
You're ashamed of yourself, young man.
Yeah.
Horses in the paddock, race number 6. $20,000 claimers. If you're an adult in the room, good God.
I got a stupid pick in this race.
Yeah?
Lord Gatling.
Your stupid pick won the last race?
Yeah, that one I really like. This one is more on the dopey scale because the truth is he made us not be good enough to win. But I think there's a lot of very suspect types in here. And Blue Grotto was the ultimate they knew last time was the time horse. Lord Gatling was on a dead rail last time, and I think his form's a little better than it looks. I think he's been in a good recent form, so I'm going to lose a few dollars in the 2 Lord Gatling.
Your thoughts on the entry? Blue Grotto, Charlie 5-0 with riders up.
Well, Blue Grotto was one of the craziest day news. I was glad I was in Jamaica last time he ran because I might have got annoyed on the show, frankly. I mean, he was a huge price in the morning line, and justifiably so. You can see it in the paper. I mean, even Andy Beyer texted me in Jamaica and said, what did I miss about Blue Grotto? And, they just knew. They tried to put Heman Harkey up to get a better price. It didn't matter.
And won by daylight did Blue Grotto. There he is in first of 2 for Rudy Rodriguez.
But is his overall form the form of an even money shot? Now, maybe his entry is helping that a bit, but he's the one they're probably betting.
Charlie 5-0, pictured with Louis Rivera.
Is he possibly a bit of a rabbit to help the pace for a closer like Blue Grotto? And I think that may compromise the 6-42 ace.
Lord Gatling, who you like going in, made the lead running longer in his last pair.
Yeah, he's been in decent form for him lately. I don't know if it's good enough, but I think he's a little dirtied up. I'm not betting him at 5-1, though.
Centavo, it's clever. His mother, Flat Penny.
The Connection looking for their second win today. This is a little more competitive than the last race they won. He has good back form, but I don't like him of his recent form.
Scratch numbers 4 and 5, 42 ace at 9-2.
A reclaim by Charlie Baker. He's going to look to be aggressive in here. We'll see if he can control. He's dangerous.
Mason Mania, yesterday's Queens County winning jockey Kendrick Carmouche.
He gets a big drop down. For a trainer who does not have particularly great drop down numbers, for what it's worth, second off the claim on the dirt, 3 for 15, 91 cent ROI, dropping down over 50%. And he's got back form, particularly here last winter, that can win it. But I don't know if he's that horse anymore. But I can understand liking him, especially if you're a little against Blue Grotto as I am.
Now, Queens County, exciting race yesterday, wasn't it?
It was.
Fruit and Kendrick Carmouche.
It was
that
an
was
exciting stretch
exciting.
run.
That was
the
fun.
Dutro horse off a 10-minute layoff, and that really had
the
it
Willie
all.
Beeman remix?
Yeah. Willie Beeman beat me, by the way. Zito ran second.
Oh, that must have been frustrating. Steeman, Willie Beeman. Kendrick Carmouche yesterday in the Queens County. Mason Mania here, 5-2, the second choice.
I thought that Lawrence Taylor's performance on any given Sunday
Strong.
was kind of underrated. Yeah.
Strong. Jim
Yeah.
Brown was really good in any given Sunday.
Yes. A lot of good people in that. A lot of good people.
Pacino, the coach. Carmen Diaz, the owner. Dennis Quaid, the starting quarterback.
Wow.
Maggie wasn't in any given Sunday, I don't think.
Pretty impressive rundown of the cast.
I liked
any
it.
given
It was
Sunday,
good.
yeah.
Maggie, what are you seeing as the field continues to warm up?
Don't quiz me on my movie knowledge, as we'll take a look here at number 6, 42 Ace, the one coming in off a bit of a layoff, a reclaim for trainer Charlie Baker. With this guy here, who, as Andy mentioned, could control, depending, though, on what they do with the stretch out of number 1A in here, Charlie 5-0. He looks great, but on the flip side of that coin, he always looks fantastic. A horse that's just really appealing to the eye. I mean, he's big, burly, well-muscled, and I can't say that he doesn't look fit, because he does. So I think he poses a real threat to the favored entry, though it will depend on dynamics. We do see Lane Luzzy giving him a big warm-up on the track as Lane looks for his second win on the card. As number 3, Centavo, I'm going to take a little bit of a punt with him, just because he ran okay last time in probably a weaker field, but I didn't think he looked fit at all. In fact, he got totally washed out on the racetrack. And for me, that's usually a sign of a horse just needing a start. Today, not the case. Looks incredibly fit, really well turned out. Has gotten a decent enough warm up for me, but isn't hot by any means. And it's seasonable. It's not really cold or really warm. So I like what I'm seeing from him in that respect, and hoping he can get back to some of his better efforts. As number 7, Mason Mania, he's a bit of a kind of a drop down. He ran for 25 at Presque Isle, going back a ways, but I didn't necessarily love him in the paddock, but he's kind of one that moved up in my eyes watching the warm-ups. For me, he's the one that's moving best out there and just kind of strutting his stuff on the racetrack, though he's going to have to find some of his better form, Lafitte.
So looks a little bit better, some positive indications there. Mason Mania, yeah, though, he needs to reach back and find his best fastball to take down this 6th race at Aqueduct. What do you make of his chances?
I think he is. I picked him second. Personally, if somebody said, who do you think is the most logical horse to take, I would say it's him, because he does have that back form that drowns them. But his recent form is atrocious. Now, to be fair, he lost all chance to start last time. That was a biased racetrack where he was the inside, where the winner was the inside speed. So I think he makes some excuses, but I do wonder a little bit if he's just way past his expiration date.
JK, how do you see this one unfolding?
I think it's a foregone conclusion that the one Blue Grotto is going to win. This horse was. they bet this horse last time in a way that made no sense to me, and the horse ran to that. There's been a horse that's come back and won out of that race. There's been 2 horses to run second out of that race and a horse to run third out of that race. And he did it impressively, right? Like circling the field. He was wide all the way around there. I think that whatever's going on with Blue Grotto, Rudy's kind of figured it out. Maybe it was the blinkers last time, but this horse is a different horse than the previous 23 races of his career, and I think the last time was the time that he's kind of proven where he is now. I think Blue Grotto will get the job done again here.
Part of the favorite entry, 8-5. You have to have like T-shirts made or something. They knew.
Yeah,
I think you can build on that.
I don't know that his performance last time necessarily makes him winner of this race. I think it does if nobody shows up to win. I kind of disagree a little with Jonathan. I'm not going to be surprised if he wins. I mean, look, I picked a horse in this race that's a little hard to make. He's 9-1, so obviously I don't have a great deal of respect for the field. But I don't think that Blue Grotto's last race was that good. Is it good enough to win here? Not if the 7 shows up. It's not.
Let's see if he can go back-to-back Blue Grotto. And on the outside, Mason Mania. Chris Griffin standing by post time with the 6th race live from the Big A on Fox Sports 2.
Mason Mania is in. All set. And they're off. Speed towards the outside here from Charlie. 5-0 is going to be on the front end. 42 Aces following that rival. So is Mason Mania up on the far outside. Lord Gatling trying to join them is at the rail. Followed by Centavo, and the early trailer is Blue Grotto. Well out into the center of the racetrack as they come out of the chute. 42 Ace and Charlie 5-0. Charlie 5-0 with the nose in front. 42 Ace is going to track and stalk this pace setter. They're crawling up front. Mason Mania is tracking from third, is going to stalk the pace setters now. Not that far off the lead. Is a length and a half off the battling duo. Centavo moving forward with Lord Gatling, and the trailer is Blue Grotto. 24 seconds flat for the opening quarter mile. Charlie 5-0 has got the lead. It's Charlie 5-0 down towards the inside. 42 Ace under a tight hold here for Lane Luzzy is right here from second. Kendrick Carmouche and Mason Mania. They're just watching these pace setters now. And here comes Mason Mania with a 3-wide move. They went 47 and 3 for the half mile time. Centavo is in between horses. Red sleeves at the rail. Lord Gatling, and under a drive from the back of the pack gets Blue Grotto. They haven't got to Charlie 5-0 yet, but here's Mason Mania. Can wait no longer, and Mason Mania is ready to pounce. Here comes Mason Mania out in the center of the racetrack. Kendrick Carmouche is a statue right now, and Mason Mania now gets the cue, and Mason Mania is opening up here in the stretch. Centavo is in clear pursuit. From the back, Blue Grotto is running on. 42 Ace, but Mason Mania looking much the best here. Is approaching the 16th pole. Mason Mania's got a 5-length cushion. Mason Mania. Kendrick looks around. Nobody's there. Mason Mania, that's your winner. Blue Grotto up for second. Centavo and 42 Ace. Final running time, 1 minute 36 and 4.
And by himself, in the end, he brought his best on this afternoon. Mason Mania in the 6th at Aqueduct, 7-5 at post time, second choice.
Sometimes it's just a question of finding the easier competition. And the other thing about him today was the Kendrick did an excellent job of getting him into the race. It wasn't a particularly quick pace. Seems like they kind of rattled off 24 quarters. They sped up a little bit in that second quarter. So obviously being on top of the pace was going to help him more than Blue Grotto. But Blue Grotto was also a lower level horse, and a last time was the time. Those horses, very rarely do they duplicate those performances. There's a reason they're running at lower level races. They're not as reliable. And you look at Mason Mania, whose form had been abysmal going into this, but he finds a much easier, softer spot. Kendrick does a good job putting in position. And a lot of times, success at the racetrack is determined by running your horses where they can win. And there's no greater example of that than Linda Rice. It's not like she's some sort of magician. She just runs an awful lot of horses in races they can win.
Keep yourself in the best of company, horses in the worst of company. And in this case, all adds up to a victory at 7-5 for Mason Mania. 7-1-3-6. Kendrick Carmouche, Rob Atras. Those mic'd up colors. Results in just a few moments. Meantime, back at Oaklawn Park. Live look, gorgeous afternoon in Hot Springs. Field updated odds for this 5th race. $10,000 claiming event, mile and a 16th. Odds on Royal Act 3-5. We check in with Richie and Paul live on site.
Yeah, so it didn't take us long, Andy, to get a Robertino Diodoro horse to be the favorite on a drop. And, you know, when you look at the 3 in here, Royal Act, you know, there's always going to be question marks when a horse drops, because this is a horse that was in the Peter Urton barn in California, came into the Robertino Diodoro barn, shows a couple really nice drills, and now drops for 10.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a precipitous drop in class for a horse that has races that just stand out against this group. He does have the recency of a race at Remington Park, and I think that's important when we're looking at races here at Oaklawn. This track has proved to be a bit demanding. Horses seem to really improve with a race, and I'm always going to lean towards horses with a little bit of recency. There's another dropper in here as well, Paul, the 5, What a Country. Yeah. You get Eric Asmussen for his dad, Steve. You know, we talk so much about Keith, who's really gotten off as a rider. Eric still looking for that first win as a rider, and this horse is dropping from claiming 30 down to 10, but a more reasonable kind of drop than your favorite.
Well, it just shows you what this field's about, because this is a tough field to get to. The 7 and 8 were players in here, and they're big scratches, at least in my mind, that you have a horse like What a Country, who is 5-2. The horse is 0 for 14. here at Oaklawn Park. But then again, Royal Act has not won in 2 years, and he's 3-5.
Yeah, and again, you know, I'm always a little reluctant to take very short prices here, and there's question marks with that big drop in class. Mulberry Street's ridden the 7 by Joe Belmere. Got his first win as a rider just the other day. He's a 10-pound apprentice. Now, Eric Asmussen's not riding with the apprentice allowance because, like his brother Keith, they're just not able to make those lower weights getting the 10-pound apprentice allowance. But Joey Belmere seems like he's a pretty small kid. Looks very young. I know he's 18. He looks more like he's about 14.
Yeah, and he's light, too, as well. But the one I thought was the other horse in here, you know, when the 7 and 8s got scratched out, Eusebio, the trainer here of American Freedom, this gelding by American Freedom, he got a W the other day with a nice little upset, and he gets Ramon Vasquez in the iron, and this is a gelding that is kind of consistent, the one.
Consistent, shows up, runs his race, gets a good inside draw. At least he'll get to save ground on the first turn. You know, my idea about it is you have to save ground on at least one of the 2 turns in a 2-turn race. So you know he's going to get a ground-saving trip early and then be able to work things out later on. And he's probably going to be forward, particularly coming out of faster-paced races.
And Lafitte, the 3's going to be tough in here at 3-5. I think Mig and I both agree. And when you look at the other horses in this race, maybe the 5 and Eric Asmussen can get his first win. I thought the 1 was the other play in here, but me, Royal Act, I guess I got to live it. The horse hasn't won for 2 years at 4-5. It's a tough proposition, Mig.
It is a tough proposition, but it's kind of hard to see past them.
It's the factor you have to. It's just dealing with one thing. You have a race where they're also running a certain kind of form. They're running in this sort of relative. Wins a lot of races. It's just a fact. He runs a lot of horses that are massive drop downs, particularly at Oaklawn. And he wins, too. And we're not people running the window to bet 4-5 shots. Certainly, Paulie and I are both always looking, you know, for prices. And I know Richie feels the same way. But you got to be careful about bucking them too much. If you've got a good idea against them, go in. But if you don't,
for example,
let him win.
The reason to take a stand against a horse like Blue Grotto is a short price today.
Right. Now, I
know
know
it's not a
that ran
dropper,
like garbage, but the 7 to me, as I said before the race, was the more likely of the 2 horses that ran. Blue Grotto was the time type horse, you know, a horse they knew, a put over. He really was, and you know, I tip my hat to put overs because a lot of people try to put horses over. Most of the time they lose. They got the money. I wouldn't have got the money. Sometimes it's annoying, but, you know, I have a respect. I've been around the racetrack a long time. I've seen guys make scores. Most of the time you set up to make a score, you don't win. Takes a lot.
Play the hand you're dealt here at Oaklawn with Robertino Diodoro and the heavy favorite in the big class dropper, Royal Act 4-5. Moving into line, Matt Dinnerman with the call. Race 5 live on the undercard of the Smarty Jones at Oaklawn.
No more Mr. Nice Guy coming up. Drew Power, Chisholm Trail, and to the outside, Major Contender. We're ready to go. And Laroff. That Kenny wins the start, takes advantage, strides clear. That Kenny by about 2, a length and a half, now only a length, as I'm Crenshaw takes up right off his heels into the turn. Chisholm Trail set along to get forward position, claims the 2nd position, while Georgia Deputy 3 wide on the course is 3rd. That Kenny maintains the lead. That Kenny, the pacemaker, a length and a tail. Chisholm Trail is 2nd, and he's 2 clear of Georgia Deputy around that turn. I'm Crenshaw in the 4th position, 5 lengths off the lead as they start to string out out. Major Contender racing alone in 5th as well. Then Royal Act, the favorite inside of him. Drew Power, 3 deep on the course. There's 3 runners that joined 5th, and they're 5 lengths off the lead as the pace setter slows it right down here down the backside. A gap of 3 to What a Country at the rear with No More Mr. Nice Guy down the backstretch. That Kenny and Martin Schwann lead the parade here. A length in front, Chisholm Trail nickeled along a little bit. Royal Act has gotten significantly close, so the favorite's down on the inside in a pocket, but he's going well down in there. Royal Act will need to find a way out of some traffic, but is in a good position around that turn. Georgia Deputy loses a spot to Major Contender on the outside. Then I'm Crenshaw, and an all-out drive, not responding under pressure with Drew Power. What a Country, not going to get it done, is still at the rear with No More Mr. Nice Guy. Royal Act has got off the rail to come and challenge that early front runner, that Kenny, and the white blaze kicking on. Royal Act on the outside, still second, grinding away down the center of the track. That Kenny still in front, nursing a lead, but it's a narrow one as Royal Act now moves up alongside Royal Act, and that Kenny determined from the inside. Royal Act with the upper hand late. Royal Act gets it. Royal Act, your winner over that Kenny. What a Country rallies for a minor award, got 3rd. No More Mr. Nice Guy followed him and placed 4th.
Well, 1 to 5, you had to squeak it out, and you had to sweat a little bit because Martin Schwann gave the 2, that Kenny, a tremendous ride, rated this horse. And Torres got a great trip with Royal Act, and as soon as he went to the left hand, the horse started responding because he was spinning his wheels a tiny bit.
Yeah, it looked like your favorite Royal Act came off the turn and was just kind of running in place. And then when he did get after him left-handed, kind of dropped his head and found a bit more. Just the way you want to see a 1 to 5 shot win, right, Paul?
Right, unbelievable. Listen, Martin Schwann did a great job. He got away with 113 and change. And I mentioned to you that the 3's going to have a tough time going by, but you made a good point. As soon as Christian Torres went left-handed, the horse finally responded.
Yeah, and listen, Martin Schwann's a rider I was not very familiar with at the start of this meet. Has been impressive in several races that I've watched him. What a Country rallied on from pretty far back under Eric Asmussen to get 3rd. But your favorite gets it done, but he had to work hard for it.
Yeah, and if you had this superfecta, I know you get 1 to 5, 10 to 1, 7 to 1, and the 9 at 99 to 1. Lafitte will round out your superfecta.
At least 99 to 1. Royal Act, not 99 to 1. The odds-on favorite, like the definition of lumbering.
Guy's not winning like a 1 to 5 shot should. I think if you made a big bet on this guy at 1 to 5, you're kind of nuts anyway, but you definitely were not excited in the run down the lane.
No. But
even if you bet the 2.
Grinding, plugging away, finally put away that Kenny trying to pull off the upset. Diodoro, the class drop. Christian Torres, Royal Act, the favorite, in the end, does deliver in the 5th race in Hot Springs. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2.
Cyberknife was a very talented horse from day one. Fast horse, able to carry it around 2 turns. Looks a tremendous amount like Gunrunner, same ability and talent. Holds the track record in the Haskell. He won it in impressive fashion, beating a very good group of horses.
His name is Cyberknife!
Excited about him passing on his durability, his soundness, and his talent. He could definitely be a breed-shaping stallion.
For the last few years, Thoroughbred Racing has been taking vital steps to make our sports safer. These include the use of independent veterinarians who check every horse before every race, strict anti-doping and medication controls with severe punishments for violators, uniform safety standards for every track, and a single national authority empowered to create reforms and enforce new standards across the board. With each important measure, more data is gathered, accountability is demanded. And while we've made progress, we are committed to doing more, so that at every track, in every race, safety takes the lead. Visit ntra.com/safety for more.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen. every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Starting in the spring of 2021, 7-year-old Lookin' at Lee began holding court at Irish Hill Century Farm in a partnership with Duchess View Stallions. The son of Lookin' at Lucky broke his maiden at 2 by nearly 5 lengths in his second start.
Off and running in that Ellis Park.
And Lookin' at Lee flashed precocious speed in winning the Ellis Park Juvenile Stakes on his way to earning $1.3 million in a career that included a second in the 2017 Kentucky Derby. Stallion manager Bill Leake says the owners of Lookin' at Lee are sending him a great book of mares.
The ownership, the Levinsons and their partners have sent some great mares to him, graded stake producers. Also, we've had some graded stake producers from inside the state breed to Lee. So his book has been very solid.
The farm expects Lookin' at Lee will pass on good conformation, a solid mind, and 2-year-old ability.
I hope he puts good bone and good size in his foals.
Really good stuff. The strength in New York breeding. For more information, go to nybreds.com. Right on cue, we have New York Breds. $45,000 allowance optional claimers on this New Year's Day feature. 6 furlong sprint. Scratch the second half of the entry. Key scratch. The morning line favorite is out. Number 6, My Man Matty. So now, number 2, What's Up, Bro? Has emerged as a very tepid choice, Andy, at 3-1. There he is. Live look at What's Up, Bro.
Yeah, I don't know what PPs people that are making this horse's favorite in doubles are looking at, because the PPs I have make him a complete toss in this race.
Why?
He's not good enough to win. He beat up on a very weak field last time. If you like him today, you should get really excited about a race on Friday, because the ones who ran second and third to him, they'll run 1-2 by 10 if he comes back and beats this field. Sure, he's helped by the scratch because takes out one of the speeds. He's just not good enough to win this race, and he's got a better speed in Warrior's Revenge sitting outside of horse who's 10 for 24, albeit off a layoff, though I prefer him. I think that the 8-horse Thrill of It All has been running against better horses. I just think this is a much tougher field. I don't understand What's Up, Bro at all.
So Andy clearly loves What's Up, Bro. They have a choice here at 3-1 in this 7th race at Aqueduct. Maggie, what are you seeing in the paddock?
I guess he's saying to Andy, what's up, bro? I don't particularly like him either, to be fair, at a short price. But I'm going to take a look at a horse who arguably has been running maybe against inferior, and that's number 1, Horn of Plenty. Now, last time in finishing second, he was very game when going to Penn National, though he has spent the majority of last year of this season running out of town, and 2 back at Finger Lakes. He was beaten by Chalad in the Institute, who came back and won very nicely here 2 days ago, but he was soundly beaten by them. So in the Institute won a race, in my opinion, that was kind of similar to what this is here. So I like what I'm seeing from him. I just don't really know how he stacks up against some of these other ones in here, though it is a race in which it's tough to gauge where everybody fits from a class perspective. As we'll take a look at number 3, Warrior's Revenge. He'll come in off a bit of a layoff, and one that typically when you see him does carry a good bit of weight. He never kind of deviates from being a very round and rotund type of a horse. But otherwise, for him, he actually does look fit, kind of relatively speaking. I like what I'm seeing from him in that perspective. He never looks great in his coat, kind of same thing again, but he's certainly run races that do make him a player here for trainer Mark Hennig. Guys?
Warrior's Revenge. Andy knows how to find the winner's circle, comes in a 10-time winner, seeking an 11th and currently 7-2. Your top selection, I believe.
No, my top selection is the 8. To be honest with you,
okay.
Well, they scratched the 6 so late while we were on the air that I couldn't change my picks, and I'm not going to get into the habit of doing those kinds of things. I don't think it's fair. I do think with the scratch, he's the worst to beat, but he is a layoff horse. For what it's worth, Mark Hennig 6 to 12 month layoffs in the dirt and dirt sprints. He's 4 for 18 with a $1.64 ROI, so it's a negligible number. It shows they can come back and run well. He's a 7-year-old, a new 7-year-old, but he's 10 for 24, first, second, or third, 21 times. He's an incredibly reliable horse. And with the scratch the 6, he's either the speed or he's sitting outside of the overmatched What's Up Bro.
The versatility is key. He can win with. If you give him the lead, he'll take it. If someone else wants it, he's comfortable sitting just off the pace setter.
Look at his PPs, right? He's got those 7 straight wins. And then he ran in today's Flavor. He easily beat Writer's Regret, another horse who's coming back. Now, he's had a couple races off the layoff. Listen, layoff horse can go either way, just because, he could come back and just not be able to run anymore. You don't really know, and he has missed a lot of time, and he's getting older. I thought Siller K, the 5 we're showing, is a horse that's hurt by the scratch because, he's helped by the fact that the favorite is no longer the race, but he was going to add more speed to the race,
shape.
and this horse just doesn't have much speed. But I thought he was not impossible. I thought his last race was okay. But Thrill of It, I think he's going to appreciate cutting back to 6 furlongs, and he's just kept tougher company on so many occasions. And I thought he was interesting at a price, so I end up going 8.35 in here. And I thought they were the right 3. I'm not sure who else I'm supposed to take.
You just saw Kendrick Carmouche entering the paddock. Is he ever not smiling?
Probably. When the camera's on, definitely. Kenner's a good man. And, I think we saw a ride from Kenner. It was the last race. It's a very typical ride with Kenner. I think people tend to pigeonhole him as a speed rider. I don't think he is. I think he's a very good rider who happens to ride a lot of speed horses because people like putting him on forwardly placed horses. But you take the last race, I think he realized I'm probably riding the best horse in the race. The Achilles heel of this horse is if the pace gets slow and I'm not aggressive. So I'm going to get him into the race. And if he runs his race, getting him in the race, he's going to win.
Amazing how a strength of a rider can actually somewhat work against him because it creates a narrative that, he's really good at that, but not as good at everything else.
It's nonsense. I mean, one of his biggest career wins is the Wood Memorial on Bourbonic.
Yep.
He came from 100 lengths behind, and what did he do? He intentionally put the horse in the back of the field to do that. It's really unfair to Kendrick to say that. I think he's been riding the turf extremely well. It's a question of getting the opportunities, and with his agent, Jimmy Riccio, he's really been getting the opportunities. And for any rider, if you get the opportunities, you have a chance to do well. If you don't have a chance.
It's like Eddie D. He's great from off the pace. You know how hard it was to get by Eddie D when he was in front? Jockeys, it's easy for them to get pigeonholed by no fault of their own and a strength. Post-parade, race 7 here on Horn of Plenty, 8-1 currently.
Yeah, he'd have to refine his form. It is David Jacobson, but who's a bit random, but his recent races are dubious.
What's up, bro? Quick gelding breaks from the rail.
Yeah, I don't really understand the love for this horse. I just didn't think he was good enough.
Smiling Kendrick Carmouche, 7-2, second choice.
I'd love to see this guy come back and do well. He's just the kind of horse that's so easy to root for. He's such an honest type horse.
Bronx Bomber number 4. It's his 33rd lifetime start at Aqueduct.
And he can't win without the lead. He only wins on the front end, and I'd almost be super aggressive with him. He doesn't have the speed he used to have.
Quick, yes.
He used to be very, very fast.
Silly K, Eric Cancel in the saddle.
He needs some pace to run at. If he gets it, he has a chance, but I'm not sure he's going to get it.
Big scratch, the 6 is out. Riders Regret, who scored at Finger Lakes in November.
He's the 6. Listen, he's a consistent type. I mean, more seconds than wins, but he's been first and second almost half his career starts.
And Thrill of It, number 8, John Terranova.
I'm hoping less distance and a little bit of class relief will do the job. 7-2, though, is the lowest I could take on him. It's a little lower than I expected him to be, as a matter of fact.
Competitive race.
Yeah, it's a fun race.
Good race, yeah. These New York breds, JK. And Kendrick Carmouche, Jonathan, trying to go back-to-back with Warriors Revenge pictured.
Yeah, look, Warriors Revenge is the type of horse that he comes in off of a long break. To be accurate, 295 days since his last race. But if you look to his past performances, he's got a couple of long breaks like that in the past. And he's run well off of those breaks. And he's got a second and a first off of a significant layoff like that, a 200-day-ish type of layoff. So I think the horse is going to run well considering. And if you look at the speed figures, he's just kind of right there in the mix. He's got some tactical speed. You got a rider in Kendrick Carmouche who, like Andy mentioned, I think he's got pigeonholed as like a speed rider. I just think that it's something that he is good at. he can do a lot of other things, and he does a lot of other things very well, but it is one thing that he also does do well. I think Warriors Revenge is going to be forwardly placed. I think he is going to run well fresh, and I am going to place a Naira Betts wager on him at 7-2.
Taking a look at the outside runners in here as number 7, Writer's Regret. He is one who does come here often from Finger Lakes and run well for trainer Ralph D'Alessandro. Sorry, talking about the 7 first, guys. But he often kind of needs a start over this surface. You can tell he comes in here, he gets washy, and he's typically like that. But it always feels like he'll run okay in his first start on the NYRA circuit of the season, and then he'll run better subsequently. He was moving very well on the track, so I'll give him that. But the horse that is probably moving best, and one that I've always thought shorter is better. I mean, just looking back through my notes, when it comes to number 8, Thrill of It is all sprinter. Shorter the better. So, I say this so often, but it's so true. Sometimes it's not about the individual, it's about who the individual's facing. And as Andy said, on paper, it looks like this is the weakest field that Thrill of It is facing, and watching them visually, it feels the same way. Lafitte?
Thrill of It?
It's a lot like when I'm on the desk with you.
Something like that.
Yeah, very similar to that.
Thrill of It at 3-1. You pay close attention to the track trends. Have you noticed anything the last couple of days or today as far as a favorable place to be on the track one way or the other?
Actually, I do them. I actually think the rail has been good the last 2 days. And most of what we've seen at Aqueduct, a lot of this means the riders staying away from the rail. And the rail's been fine a lot of days. And if you watch the race, you think it must be a dead rail because nobody wants to go to it. And then you'll see some horses run the rail, and they run fine. So I think the riders are staying away from it a lot, but I think we've seen a lot of riders be on the rail and do extremely well. I don't think it's a giant advantage. I think we've had a very fair racetrack for a huge, huge amount of the year and the meet here, and I think it's pretty fair here, but I got no problem with being inside, I'll tell you that. I just don't think it's a major advantage. I don't think it's a disadvantage.
That's where the lukewarm favorite is. What's up, bro? Breaking from the inside at 3-1. We're all set. Chris Griffin with the call. Race 7 live from the Big A.
Thrill of It. Is in. All set. And they're off. Bronx Bomber has speed from in between horses. There's What's Up Bro. What's Up Bro is quickest, and What's Up Bro quickly up by a full length. Just off of What's Up Bro is going to be Warriors Revenge, and under drive there is Bronx Bomber from 3rd. Out wider, it's Thrill of It, who's trying to join them, is in the 4th position, but 4 wide up the backstretch. Then Horn of Plenty is going to skip on through here towards the inside and save some ground. Second to last is Silly Key, and the trailer, Writer's Regret. No turning back. What's Up Bro? 22-1 is 6 lengths clear. It's What's Up Bro who's trying to run them off their feet right now. Bronx Bomber is a clear second. Here comes Thrill of It in pursuit with Jose Gomez. It's all What's Up Bro approaching the quarter pole, and What's Up Bro still has that 6-length cushion. What's Up Bro at the top of the stretch. Thrill of It is all in, is coming right after this leader now. What's Up Bro is approaching the final furlong and is going to have to gut this one out because Thrill of It is catching with every single stride. What's Up Bro is tired, and here comes Thrill of It up alongside. Thrill of It from off the pace is going to open up and win. It's all Thrill of It. Jose Gomez picks up another one. Thrill of It, What's Up Bro holds second. Then came Silly Key and Horn of Plenty. In 1 minute 10 and 4.
Complexion of that race changed quickly. What's Up Bro opening up that big lead, tiring in the stretch, and Thrill of It taking full advantage. And your top selection, along with Maggie, 5-2 at post time.
Yeah, obviously What's Up Bro ran better than I expect him to run. There seems to be something almost going on with him. They bet him. He showed incredible speed. Unfortunately, the number 3 horse just can't run. Warriors Revenge. He finished last in here. And the fact he had no speed, he couldn't keep up with this one. But I don't think at 22-1, anyone was keeping up with him. He opened a big lead. He ran better than I expected. I can't knock him. He didn't run that badly in finishing second. But you know what? The 8 who took all the money in this race, and Maggie touched on it, the class relief. And it interesting. But, you say class relief. He also had the figs to back it up. This horse was running mid-80 buyers, and others in here recently hadn't been. He just found the right. And I also think the cutback helped him. I think he's a horse that's just a little better going shorter.
Responded well.
Yep.
Strong closing kick, able to run right by the tiring leader. What's up, bro? 8-2-5-1. Jose Gomez going to work. John Terranova, owner, trainer, thrill of it in the 7th of 8 at Aqueduct on this New Year's Day. Results when we come back, and right back to Oaklawn Park, getting closer to the Smarty Jones this evening.
Down to the wire, Verstappen.
Here's the finish, Ancient Roll. War Bomber's won the King Edward.
Seal Team has won the Twilight Derby.
Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Mind-tingling. Jaw-dropping. Awe-inspiring. Secretariat-like.
Thanks for spending part of your New Year's Day with us. Live look there, Oaklawn, America's Day at the Races, is always brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Horses have left the paddock at Oaklawn, $30,000 claimers. Non-winners 3 lifetime, all for sale, all 2 for something. Field updated odds with Vow at the bottom favorite at 9-5. Out to Richie and Paul standing by at Oaklawn.
Thanks, Lafitte. And yeah, I think Val's taking a ton of money, I think because of 2 variables here. I think Joel Rosario getting aboard, and this horse is in my racehorse stable. They do tend to get bet a little bit.
Sure, a lot of horses involved with one horse, and they're going to get support and strong connections, right? Obviously, yeah. Joel for Steve Asmussen. I thought this was such a difficult race to handicap, and when they're that difficult, I start to lean more on what I'm looking at appearance-wise. I will tell you one horse that stood out to me warming up is the 2-horse Cartel Queen. She made such a nice impression, trained by Riley Mott, has a race over the track, which I think upgrades her in my eyes. I know she's going to have to improve, but I really like what I saw there, Paul.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns in this race. The 4 in here is coming off synthetic. We got a couple other horses, the 10 and the 11, coming off in synthetic. This horse is taking a lot of money here, too. The 5, the Princess Says, off the claim for S. Cunningham and Julian Leperoux.
claim from a good stable, though, and, but Julian Leperoux sees fit to take them out. This horse should be forward. I'm seeing a lot of speed signed on in this race, Paul.
Well, you make a good point about that because the one who I like, Hartley, I thought could be the speed, but you made a good point on the 11 horse Wings from Above, a horse that has shown a ton of speed. Ramsey Zimmerman's aboard. He usually knows one way to go. There you're singing Emma. She's shown some speed in the past, and she's 2 for 3 at Oaklawn. So you're right. There is some pace in this race.
Well, and getting back to the 11 Wings from Above, we saw Norman McKnight win with a horse that had raced pretty much exclusively on synthetic the other day. This horse has a work over the track, has speed. Randy Zimmerman is a rider that allows horses to bounce. He lets them use their speed. I just thought Val was too short a price in a race that I think is really wide open. And just, Andy talking about me without a coat. I went to the coat, I went to the scarf, and I still got one more ace in the hole. I got a hat that might be coming out pretty soon.
Just make sure those toes stay together. We got to make sure the toes stay together, Lafitte. That's it.
All right, guys, as we have reached post time, they'll make their way behind the gate shortly. Andy with Val and Joel Rosario, Steve Asmussen, 5-2.
Okay, I got some good stats on this
All
one.
right.
I don't like good
Fire
stats
away.
on favorites. Synthetic to dirt. Steve Asmussen, 15 for 63, 24%, 238 ROI. Now, at Oaklawn, he's got a weaker number. He's only 4 for 31. He has a positive ROI because it's a $36 horse. So outside of Oaklawn, he's done well with it, and he's done okay. Doesn't done great with it at Oaklawn for whatever it's worth. I don't know. I guess he's a contender. It's a big drop in here. I know there was a lot going on in this race, right?
If not her, then who?
Well, that's a good question. I can't take the 5 because I can't take horses claimed off of Chris Hartman.
Yep.
Claimed off Chris Hartman, 16%, $1.29 ROI at Oaklawn over the last 5 years, 5 for 56, 56-cent ROI. So that's not a horse I'd really want to take. I think the 2's too big a price, second off a layoff, but obviously not that good. There feels like there's a ton of pace in this race, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like the 12 Vow is probably a stalking type. I don't have a big problem with Vow. I think 5-2 is sort of the least I want to take. There isn't, like the 10 is first time
what
in the
about her?
dirt.
Yeah.
That horse is not really a dirt pedigree. It's a first foal. I mean, I know you've got West Coast and Flatter. The dam side is more turf, though. It's a Warfront dam and all the production from her. And the same thing for the 11 is first time. So I don't have a big problem with the 12. I'll be honest with you. I find the Oaklawn racing extremely competitive and difficult. And for me, I either want to find somebody to price to take a shot with, in which case it would be a horse like the 2 or 4 in this race, or just sit them out.
Lots of speed towards the outside with the 2 you mentioned, Sea Pearl in her dirt debut, Wings from Above as well, and the favorite to their outside with Val, Rosario Asmussen at 5-2. Matt Dinneman standing by, post-time race 6, live Oaklawn.
Wings from Above. And the last one to load in will be Vow. Vow goes in. We're ready to go. And Larough. Wings from Above in the red and white. Gets the first call and shoots to the front. Sister Kisses takes the second spot, but Wings from Above clears off, gets to the rail, and establishes a 1 1/4 lead on Sister Kisses and the Princess Says. Second and third there together. Sea Pearl, 3 deep on the course in the white jacket. Then the gray Hartley. She's racing alongside of Cartel Queen. They're 2 better than Our Bet, who's down on the rail. Sweet Nelly between horses. Vow is 3 deep, now passing that duo to be 5 or 6 lengths behind in midfield. Second to last, Singing Emma, and Shell Shock is the trailer as they round the far turn. Wings from Above in the 2 path, leads by a neck. Sister Kisses down inside. The rails open up for her to come and challenge that front runner, and these 2 are together at the top of the lane. Wings from Above on the outside, Sister Kisses inside, right there determined, and these 2 locking horns approaching the furlong pole. Wings from Above on the outside with a nose lead. Sister Kisses down inside, finding her best stride though, and she just ran right by. She was given the cue to go, and she took off. Sister Kisses, Martine Schwann pulling away to win by 3.5, probably 4 in the end. Second home, Wings from Above, and then Hartley, who was third. Photo for 4th, Cartel Queen and the Princess Says.
Well, we were talking about the horses that were coming from synthetic, and they ran 1-2. The 4 here off a synthetic race from Turfway Park for Gennaro Garcia and Martin Schwann. Again, Martin Schwann taking no prisoners on the front end, and this horse really opened up late. The 2 synthetic horses ran 1-2, Mick.
Yeah, and we thought the 11 would show that kind of speed under Randy Zimmerman, but Martin Schwann held his position enough with Sister Kisses, didn't allow him to clear, so he never had to worry about easing back or taking kickback coming to the outside. And the size disparity between your winner, Sister Kisses, and the runner-up, Wings from Above, was so glaring, turn and roll.
Yeah.
The filly that won it was about a hand and a half, or about 6 to 8 inches taller than the filly outside of her, but a nice effort for the 2 of them. And this is what we get at Oaklawn. If you dig deep, you're going to come up with horses with prices. Andy talked about it. He thought the 4 had a shot, 12-1. You can get rewarded handsomely here.
Yeah, good call by you, Andy, here. And it looks like the 1 ended up going off as your favorite here at 2-1. Hung on for third. 4-11, 1-5 here from Oaklawn.
A 12-1 shot that didn't eke that one out. Andy winning with authority and conviction, Sister Kisses.
Well, a lot of horses didn't run, including the favorite in this race. And listen, a good job by Schwann getting this horse forward. Not a horse, if you look at the pace projector, expected to be forward. The 11 expected to have speed, but not her. And as it turned out in a race that on paper had a lot of speed, pace was fair, but nothing that special. And the 2 speeds ran 1-2 around the track, or 2-1, I should say.
By a former Wood winner, Outwork. You know, I picked Outwork in that Kentucky Derby.
Did you? Where did he finish?
Not my finest, not my finest moment.
Oh, I finished.
No.
Many horses that run nowhere in the Derby.
He's had many great moments at the Derby. The coach, the legend D. Wayne Lucas, a decade ago won the Smarty Jones and will take charge. Trying for a second today with Just Steel, the 9-5 morning line Smarty Jones favorite this evening at Oaklawn, right here on FS2.
Charlatan is back, and he turns it on with an 1/8 of a mile to go. Express Train moves into second. Nashville dropping out of it, and then Collusion Illusion. What a spectacular return for Charlatan, who will romp in the run-happy Malibu Stakes by 4.5 emphatic lengths. Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
War Dancer, New York's leading turf sire again in 2023 with standouts like Barrage at Saratoga.
Here's Barrage with a final surge. Barrage got him.
Warsaichi dominant on the dirt at Finger Lakes.
Warsaichi has scampered well clear. Warsaichi all the way with the top spot.
And Danzig Queen on the tap of the surface at Woodbine.
And Danzig Queen will come away and win by a length.
Consistently producing winners on dirt, turf, and synthetic. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York.
There's a big, bold, beautiful world waiting to be explored by you and your friends, of course. But not just any friends, the best of friends. The kind of friends who let you do you. Because in this world, it's positive vibes only. And when you get in the zone here, you stay a while. These aren't just good times, they're the best of times. And your time is now. So come explore. Resorts World.
Welcome back, America's Day at the Races. Happy New Year. Coverage continuing from Aqueducts and Oaklawn. Coverage is always brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm, 100 years doing the usual, unusually well. And a 12-1 shot shaking things up Oaklawn here at Aqueduct. Thrill of it. Who you like going in?
Well, I mentioned a couple horses I'd throw in. Oh, Thrill of it at Aqueduct, I'm sorry.
Aqueduct.
Oh, yes, I liked it.
Right here, you think the leader might be gone, and then the tank is
22.27.
That's fast.
Is moving. He was cranked up and ready to roll, and probably one of the reasons he took as much money as he did. But he just ran out of real estate. He ran better than I thought, though, to be fair. I think a lot of horses didn't run at all, but he ran okay. To be
Could his early speed have been throttled to a certain extent? Could Dylan try to have nursed some of that speed? I know you don't want to fight a speed horse, but just Throwing it out there.
Yeah, but if he did it, well, if it was closer, I think he still might have beaten him. So I don't know. You know, I know what you're saying, but he was kind of a runoff. I think the bigger question is if my man Matty had run, would he have gotten into a pace duel with that one, and it would have set things up for Thrill of It to win in a bigger price? Because the way he ran, he almost had uncontrollable speed. He's not that kind of horse. I mean, he's not that kind of runoff speed.
That's why I'm asking. Like, you try to fight that type, and some will.
You don't want to fight him.
Right.
I think he.
Some will cooperate, some will fight.
I think the other thing that may have happened with him is he got left a little bit. He didn't break. He didn't break badly, but he didn't break sharp. And sometimes that happens to speed horse, especially on the inside. You got to ask him a little bit, and then they take off on you. What's he going to do?
Trying to
put his feet in the dash, then he looks like a buffoon.
You don't look like a buffoon if you bet Sister Kisses at Oaklawn. 26-40 over Wings from Above and Hartley. And this, again, didn't win like a 12-1 shot, like won with authority.
When the favorite was a no-show, I mean, it just made the whole race wide open, which it kind of looked a little bit. The Hartley ran okay to be third at 2-1. Tough horses to take, these kind of horses, off these long layoffs for a trainer does not have good numbers off the layoff. I see that Manny Escobar has been off to a good start, though, at Oaklawn.
Smarty Jones still ahead. Race number 9.
I'm so excited to get a chance to talk about how much I disliked Smarty Jones.
Why did you dislike? Who disliked Smarty Jones?
Me. I have
You
other
didn't like American
friends.
Pharaoh. You don't like horses that like the masses like.
Yes, that is correct. I thought Smarty Jones, to be fair, his Preakness was a brilliant effort.
Insanely good.
And
Like,
I think
ran a hole in
I
the
mean,
wind.
with American Pharaoh, they ran him, and that is way to the credit of the connections. Smarty Jones, I know he had some issues. He could have come back and raced. They took the money and ran, and I thought that was a shame because he ran so well in the Preakness that he really might have been a very, very good horse. I've been around a long time, and I remember when these horses came back as 4-year-olds, and you saw, imagine what kind of 4-year-old American Pharaoh could have been. I'm just sorry. I mean, I get taking the money. I don't knock owners for taking the money. One of the reasons we're not seeing those kind of horses is they're just retired too early to see them develop.
We're selfish racing fans. We just want to see more of them, and there's nothing wrong with that. What we do get to see is these horses in the paddock for the 8th race with 9 minutes out, and we check it with Maggie.
Yeah, we see a rare Churchill Downs claim that wasn't claimed by Linda Rice. In fact, Rob Atras will send out number 6 in here, Reddington, coming back off of a gate-to-wire win. And looking at him here in the paddock at the Big A. He fits nicely with this crew today. Just like everything about him, he seems like a happy horse. He's nicely and focused on the bridle. There's nothing not to like about him in his appearance whatsoever, as he'll try to graduate and take a little bit of a step up in class here from that non-2 for 20. Moving on to a horse who was a disappointment last time and I think was facing weaker. I can't recommend Union Lights whatsoever on paper. I really can't. But, and I don't, it could have had something to do with his poor performance at a short price last time, or maybe not. But he was washed out that day in the paddock in the preliminaries. And as he makes his first start here for the Cantor Massies, he's not. In fact, he looks better than ever. So, like I said, this is a little bit of a step up for sure. And I don't think he's necessarily a win candidate, Lafitte, but I think he'll run better and we'll see a better showing than we saw from him last time out.
Making a good appearance. He'll be ridden by that gentleman right there on the left, Kendrick Carmouche, making his way into the paddock there. A date with Reddington.
I'm stunned he's not favored in this race. I mean, he's the lone speed. He's got good out-of-town races. I mean, I just thought he'd be favored in this race, and it worries me a little bit he isn't. Listen, Winning Connection can win this race, but this is a horse that Rick Dutrow had for 3 starts. And Rick's a great trainer, and Rick's obviously been doing extraordinarily well since coming back, to say the least. But he really hasn't done anything to improve this horse particularly. He's the same horse he was before that. And frankly, he lost to a 1,000,000-to-1 shot in the Cobbler last time. He should have won last time. Could he win here? Of course he could. I feel like last time I thought the 6 would be an overwhelming favorite. It's one of the reasons I picked him second here. But I also have a little bit of an idea on the 1 Complete Agenda, who was caught in a speed track last time trying to close behind a merry-go-round race where they ran 1-2 around the track. He lost all chance, stumbling very badly 2 back when he finished behind Winning Connection. He's got races good enough, and I thought he was a very interesting alternative in here. Off the claim for Merktan Kantermachi, and those guys are good off the claim, especially with routers. I thought he was an interesting alternative, though I think the 6 is the one to beat.
What price did you think he would be?
Who? The
Reddington.
I thought he'd be 8-5.
No, wow.
I really did. No, I mean, I thought the morning line was wrong. The morning line was not. The 8 is favored in multi-race bets, so in all likelihood it'll be favored. I was wrong about this. I don't know. It's like he's the new face. You sometimes think people are tired of the old faces. I thought his last race would make him very tough. The other thing is he's the controlling speed on paper. So I thought for that reason alone he would merit a lot of attention. And I just thought people might be a little sick and tired of winning Connection. I'm not saying he can't win, but, man, he should have won last time.
Reddington here, late November, Churchill Downs, running that field off their feet. If he runs that race, will we see a similar result?
I think he'll be tough to beat in here. I think my horse is a little interesting, though.
Go ahead.
I just think the one is an interesting horse. I think he's an interesting alternative. He's got some back races that can beat this field. He's had excuses in his last 2 races. I think I like horses a little dirtied up. You often get a better price. As I speak, Complete Agenda, and I am alive in the double with him, but he's dropped down to 4-1, which is now 7-2, which is not that inviting a price.
See him in the post parade with Dylan Davis. Another look. Reddington. And a post parade for this 8th race. $35,000 claimer, non-winners, 3 lifetime complete agenda. Claim from Mike Maker by the Cantamasis.
I just think this horse that deserves a chance in this field. I know he looks like he's moving up off the claim. I don't know that he's meeting tougher horses.
Number 2, Provision. Finishing for him has been a challenge.
Yeah, I don't disagree. A mile and an eighth last time. He was right on top of the pace, and he just kept going backwards.
Street Cop Officer, busy. 2023, 13 starts, won 2 of them.
Yeah, his form at Finger Lakes would give him an outside chance to be 3rd or 4th, but I don't even know if he can repeat that form here.
Disappearance, Jackie Davis, a high drama in his last pair, a couple of close finishes.
He's been in career form, but even that form probably not good enough to be competitive here.
Anthracite, expected more in his latest effort.
Yeah, something went badly wrong last time out. I don't know what it was. His prior races give him a big chance.
Reddington, Carmouche, Atris, 5-2.
He just seems like, to me, he's the most logical horse in this race. The public obviously disagreeing at this point.
You can see Union Lights revving his engines. And Maggie did like what she saw in the paddock.
He'd have to improve, as Maggie noted. They're ambitious off the claim. This is that Turkish rider rode here briefly. I didn't like a ride he gave earlier in the card. I don't want to be too hard on him, but this is an ambitious spot to come here and ride in New York.
Doing everything he can to settle down Union Lights. And then a Winning Connection, Ironworks number 9 there, blinkers on. Matty Over takes over.
Ironworks just lost all his form. He fell apart for Todd Pletcher and fell apart even worse off the claim.
11-1. Winning Connection, 2-1. There he is. And Breeders' Cup Classic winning trainer Rick Dutrow, one of the biggest stories in racing, not just in New York, in racing in 2023.
I agree. And listen, I mean, everybody is entitled to their own opinions, but I felt the guy got an extremely, extremely exorbitant punishment, and he served his time. So whether or not you think he got too much or too little, he served his time. And 10-year suspension is almost unprecedented. And this is America, the land of second chances, you know? And he's got the second chance, and he's come back, and he's come back with aplomb. And I'm happy for him. I don't know Rick at all. I've met him once. I think, it's a man who when Bobby Frankel says you're the best horseman he's ever seen, I tend to take notice of that. He was pretty sharp, that Frankel guy, you know?
And, it was never a question about Dutrow's ability as a horseman. Hey, look at what he turned White Abarrio. Abarrio.
Well, he was always a good horse. He just got him to be better, but he's there's a lot of those situations. He is a brilliant, brilliant horseman. There's no question about it.
And with a big shot here, Dutrow with Winning Connection at 2-1. 2 minutes out, we check in with Maggie.
Oh. Just to kind of say my 2 cents on the Dutrow thing, and to think that he just immediately jumps back in and to have the success that he did. You would think so many people would be discouraged to maybe step away and try something different. No, he stuck to his guns, and it's just what he knows. It's what he loves, and you're happiest in life when you get to do what you love and are passionate about. So it's good to see him back at the track. His horses look fantastic. Winning Connection makes sense here, but I do want to talk about the horse that Andy was mentioning, number 1, Complete Agenda, as he, as Andy said, compromised last time, slow pace on a track that was tilted a little bit more towards speed runners. The only problem is, and that was at a mile and an eighth, he can win going a mile, but but I think he's a little better with a little bit more ground with the 2-turn configuration because he is a little bit more of that kind of slow, grinding type. There aren't too many gears in there. He looks fine overall. He has always presented himself as a good-looking horse. And at 9-2, I can totally understand taking a shot with him, Lafitte.
Complete agenda. See if you can be as effective at this one-turn middle distance.
I prefer closers around 1 turn than 2. Just, and you look at, I mean, he's got I think his best figure he ever ran was a mile 16th at Belmont around 1 turn. So I don't worry about it, but, people see things differently.
Things are unfolding the way you thought they might now at post time as they've reached the gate. Reddington now 8-5 as they get set to load.
I think he's supposed to be favored in here, so I'm not at all surprised that he's favored.
Reddington, complete agenda. Dylan Davis steps forward. 5-1, field to 9, a mile. These $35,000 claimers to close the show on this New Year's Day program from Aqueduct. For the load and call, one final time, Chris Griffin standing by.
Union Light steps forward. Winning Connection and Ironworks. Is in. All set. And they're off. Good speed from Street Cop Officer, but Reddington is quickest. It's Reddington from In Between Horses. Winning Connection goes with that rival. Union Lights wants to join them. Is going to be 3 wide here, and 4 wide, that's going to be Ironworks. So scramble on for the front end as they get set to come out of the chute. It's Reddington who holds that inside position, is right there, and Union Lights is stalking from second. 3 wide now is Winning Connection. Ironworks couldn't keep up with the heat, is right there in the 4th position at the rail. Their Street Cop Officer, who broke with the leaders, is now back in the 5th spot. To the outside of that rival, that's the pink cap of Anthracite. Further back in the field, it's another 2. Back to Provision. Far back, it's Complete Agenda with the trailer. Disappearance, 23-1. The opening quarter mile, Reddington at 3-2 has got the lead. It's Reddington who takes him into the far turn. Less than a half mile to go. They went 46.45 for that half mile time. Reddington is still in front, but here comes Winning Connection up alongside In Between Horses. Union Lights is all in. Following them is Ironworks. Ironworks and Madison Olver, they're on the move from 4th. Anthracite is all in. Same can be said for Street Cop Officer. The rest with some running to do. Provision, Complete Agenda, and Disappearance. They reach the top of the stretch. Reddington kicks for home. It's Reddington in front. Winning Connection with every shot is trying to straighten up to come after the leader. It's Reddington who's running a straighter course. Reddington is clear. Reddington inside the final furlong. Winning Connection continues to chase. Ironworks has run up into 3rd, but it's going to be Reddington. Reddington will cap off a big day. Kendrick Carmouche. Reddington wins it well. Reddington over Winning Connection. Then came Ironworks and Complete Agenda. Final running time, 1 minute 36.42 seconds.
Carmouche, Atris, strike again. This time Reddington. 3-2 at post time. The favorite delivers in the 8th and final at Aqueduct.
Yeah, the public got it right at the end. He was the worst to beat on paper, and he was the worst to beat on the track. And it was not his pace, but see, because he's more of a front-running type, and Winning Connection has to be taken a little out of his game to keep up with him, and I don't blame Trevor. What's he going to do? Let this horse walk around the racetrack? Then he's got no shot to beat him. He tried to beat him by playing his game, and he had a horse that ran second who should have been and was the second choice in here. The favorite won because he was supposed to be favored. My horse is just too slow. He's just a plodding type. I don't know, Maggie. Maybe he wants a mile and 8, maybe he wants 17 miles or something. Maybe he's just not very good.
Winning Connection, yeah, just chasing, finally just sideways and tired. Reddington was not. Plenty left. Gliding under the wire. Kendrick Carmouche checking the rear view. Nobody coming. Carmouche, Atris, another victory on the New Year's Day program at Aqueduct. Be right back.
Drain the Clock will win and win by as much as he wants. He'll win by 6 in the end.
It is Drain the Clock who will bound home the winner in the Bayshore.
Drain the Clock, Jackie's Warrior, a terrific finish in the Woody Stevens that goes to Drain the Clock by a head.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with Naira Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with Naira Bets.
Live look at Oaklawn Park on this New Year's Day. America's Day at the Races. As always, brought to you in part by Hillendale. Atalapa. 3-year-olds later on in the Smarty Jones. 3-year-olds in this 7th race. $50,000 maiden claimers here going a mile. $60,000 purse. They have evacuated the paddock. There's the field. Updated odds. Paul and Richie wide open 7th race here at Oaklawn.
Yeah, it is wide open. I think the other cog that you can go into handicapping this race is these are obviously newly turned 3-year-olds, and I don't think we have said happy birthday to all the thoroughbreds around the nation, but a lot of these horses are getting Lasix for the first time, and the one Crusading is one of those. He's gotten blinkers, and you said this horse is making a tremendous appearance.
Man, but you say it all the time, Paul. The car wash that Steve Asmussen's horses look like they go through, they're always well turned out. He looks fantastic, really well drawn inside, gets Lasix, has a race over the track. 2-1, and I think a deserving favorite for sure. And I would be remiss not to wish my son Joseph a happy birthday. He is also New Year's Day baby, so his birthday is the same as the thoroughbreds.
Well, that's crazy. Happy birthday to Joseph as well. As we're going through the post parade, here's the 5 Golden Plate. Now the McPeak barn has been on fire. I was surprised this horse was 21 in the morning line, down to 14-1.
Well, taking the drop in class is going to have to run better. Has very little speed, and I think you kind of want to be forward today, don't you?
Yeah, and listen, Pet Sounds. I just talked to Jerry Karoom. He won a little bit earlier. They're high on this horse. We've seen the Norm McKnight horses run. Higginsville is a horse I got first time out, is getting played a little bit, getting Lasix. As you can hear, this is post parade a little bit on tape delay, and they're going in the starting gate as we speak. Mig, who do you like here overall?
I think the one's going to be very tough to beat, but I'm going to take a little bit of a stab with the 6 Pet Sounds. I like that gate work, and Norm McKnight's horses have been running well coming from synthetic onto the dirt.
And the 1 is your favorite at 2-1. The 10 is loading Maximus Magic. Let's go to Matt Dinnerman. We got one more or a couple more left to load. Good luck.
Rivetage goes up, smack over live. Quebrancho. Golden Plate going forward. 2 back, Maximus Magic and Coastal Brink to round out the field. Here's Coastal Brink coming up to the outside. And Leroff, slow break from Higginsville. Good beginning from Patriot Hills, who goes to the front. Maximus Magic second with Crusading. Smack over line between horses, easing off that pair to be level 4th. Now 5th as Coastal Brink is caught deep into the turn, but advancing position to be a joint 2nd. Coming back to the lead, the gray, Patriot Hills is the pacemaker. A half length in front. Maximus Magic pressing from the outside. Coastal Brink in the 3rd position. Crusading tucked in inside of him. A length and a half clear of Smack over Lime and K. Broncho. Honest Opinion racing down on the rail. He's 5 lengths behind, swinging up the backstretch. 2 better than Golden Plate. Then on the inside, Pet Sounds is along Rivetage, and the trailer is Higginsville, who broke slowly from the gate. They're down the backstretch, Patriot Hills and Maximus Magic. Side by side there, even with a half mile to go. Crusading 3rd with Coastal Brink. K. Broncho advances a few spots. Is 5th now, 3 off the dueling pace setters into the turn. Golden Plate is passing 2 runners, Smack over Lime and Honest Opinion. Pet Sounds is given way. Rivetage has a lot of ground to make up, is passing runners, but 10 lengths off the lead. Higginsville, the trailer, as they round the 4th turn. This race ending at the 16th pole. And Maximus Magic and Ramon Vasquez have a half-length lead. Patriot Hills, Christian Torres all over him to keep up with the leader. As Maximus Magic comes off the turn, clear now, opens up 2. 3 lengths, Maximus Magic sailing away from the competition. Patriot Hills 2nd, Crusading trying to get up into that position, but there are no dangers to Maximus Magic, who ran around there like a rocket, won easily. 2nd home, it was a photo between Rivetage, Crusading, and Patriot Hills.
Well, no doubt about the winner. We were focusing on the other Norm McKnight runner, but the 10 in here, what a head he claimed. He claimed this horse for $25,000 first time out. And this horse was a tour de force today.
Just always sitting in that perfect position, just outside the 2 horse, was very game. Kicked on when Ramon Vasquez asked this horse for best. And pay attention to Norm McKnight's horses here. They are running extremely well. I needed the 1 horse to get up in there for the 2nd spot because I did box the 1-6-10 fall. It didn't work out for me, but at least I got a little bit of a thrill. And talk about a thrill. From where we're sitting, these horses thunder by us into the 1st turn. You could feel the ground move. Put me in, coach.
I know, right? This is amazing. You know what? The 2 held on for 2nd. And Patriot Hills was trying to get underneath the 10. It was just no match. So the 2 horses that ran around the racetrack and kind of were going at it ran 1-2 again here at Lafitte. And this late pick 4 starts off with a 6-1 shot.
Complete mismatch. Maximus Magic. Those 3 races up at Woodbine on synthetic. First start on dirt and hammers this field at 6-1.
They've been running this horse in the wrong circuit and surface. And I'll tell you something, those Maximus Mischiefs, I think it's going to be a little more than $7,500 to breed to him. He's had a very good first year. This horse looked good.
That was
destroyed that field.
Impressive. Maximus Magic here at Aqueduct posing for pictures, and Reddington flashing that speed, full of horse, turning for home.
Couple of wins. In fact, on our show for Rob Atras here and Kendrick
Kendrick.
Carmouche Kendrick doing what he does well. It's riding the horses the way they're supposed to be ridden, and this one is a speed horse. And I think that Trevor McCarthy was right on Winning Connection to be as aggressive as he was. I know he's playing the favorites game, but if he didn't play the favorites game, he wasn't going to run him down. So I think he had to be a little more aggressive, and the horse has developed a little bit more speed. But at the end of the day, Reddington was just a week the best, and that's why it was $5.
It's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation for Trevor there, and just such an uncomfortable spot for horses just chasing.
Riding the second best horse, and the best horse has a tactical advantage over you. There's really nothing you can do but try to get your horse in the game, and sort of hope the favorite doesn't run.
You try. Too much Reddington in the end. 8 up, 8 down from Aqueduct. The New Year's Day program in the books. We still have racing from Oaklawn Park and the Smarty Jones. And for that jockey, a change of scenery. Julien Leparoux wintering at Oaklawn for the first time, making his presence felt. Later, a date with Mystic Dan in the Smarty Jones. We'll be right back.
They say breed the best of the best and hope for the best.
Vekoma broke well on the outside and is
But you don't expect to get speed like this.
Is Vekoma the one to catch? Vekoma has a 5-length lead in this Grade 1 corner. As Vekoma continues to battle on down at the rail, it is Vekoma who's going to win the Met Mile.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program. When shopping for your next race prospect, consider that New York breds start with an advantage. Our New York breds run for serious green. At Saratoga Race Meet, New York bred maidens run for up to $88,000. New York bred allowance horses run for up to $100,000. And New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race. So get back with the program. Seriously.
Precocity.
Strategic speed. Some speed at 2, but can carry it on through their later careers.
Improbable, full of run. Improbable, now a Grade 1 winner.
It is a complete runaway, an authoritative run.
It's Improbable to win the Whitney.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Live look, Oaklawn Park. America's Day at the Races continues, getting closer to the main event. The Smarty Jones in that first local step towards the Arkansas Derby. Now that'll be race number 9, race 7 winner. And yeah, this guy on dirt, that was impressive.
Yeah.
Maximus Magic.
Yeah, and dirt racing will allow horses to show this kind of ability in a way that you don't see that often on synthetic. And clearly, he's a horse that was hindered by being on synthetic because, he was running mid-60 buyers, which made him contender in this race. But I think the way he won today, this is a faster race. But then again, I haven't been paying attention to the time, so I don't really know for sure.
So we have the 3-year-olds, as mentioned, coming up in the Smarty Jones. Number 4 is Mystic Dan, 5-1 on the morning line. He'll be ridden by Julian Leperoux. Earlier today, Paul LaDuca talking about Leperoux, about his chances on Mystic Dan in the Smarty Jones with 21 Kentucky Derby points available.
With rider here, Julian Leperoux, who's going to be aboard Mystic Dan in the Smarty Jones a little later on for Kenny McPeek. And you were mentioning to me part of the reason why you came here was to try to get a Derby mount and some classic mounts because of Kenny's barn.
Yeah, exactly. That was part of the reason why I came here. Kenny bring a big barn over here and get some nice prospect for Oaks and Derby. So hopefully we can get going today, but during this meet anyway to get them there.
Now, Mystic Dan has shown speed in a couple starts, and I know that you have not ridden him yet. Has Kenny told you anything specific about the horse?
No, but they love him. He's got a lot of talent. Obviously, the distance and everything, we got to figure out. Kenny is pretty easy to ride for. He usually let me do whatever I want, but usually he likes to break good and then get them in a good rhythm. Don't force them to be on the lead, but just get them in a good rhythm and try to finish strong at the end. So, today they looks like quite a bit of speed in the race, but I think we have the speed too. So we'll see how he break and go from there. Okay, so first full year at Oaklawn, what's your thoughts been so far of the town and the racetrack? Well, it's been great. Every time you win races, it's great. But now so far it's good. People here are very nice, very welcoming. The racetrack is good. It's a good condition. So no, it's been great so far. Well, Julian Leperoux has been riding very, very well, and he's got a good shot in the Smarty Jones today with Mystic Dan for Kenny McPeek.
They won 2 races together yesterday, Leperoux and McPeek. What do you make of Mystic Dan's chances in the Smarty Jones?
He's a very funny horse in this race, and I don't know how the betting's going to go in these races. It's tricky. if he runs back to the figure he ran breaking his maiden, albeit at 5.5 furlongs, he's going to win this race. And he's going to win it easily. But you have to question 5.5 furlongs, and he was terrible last time. You know, originally watching his race last time, I thought maybe the rail was dead at Churchill because he backed up so badly with that good trip. Looking up the races, I couldn't make an argument that the rail was bad that day, so I can't make that excuse. And you have to wonder, does he really want to go long? He's obviously got a fast race in him, but I think if you're Kenny McPeek, you have to ask yourself today, if he doesn't run well today, you might have a good sprinter on your hands. Cut him back. You know, I think about Steve Asmussen a few years ago with Jackie's Warrior. When he tried him in the Southwest, and it just became so obvious, as well as he ran the Breeders' Cup when he finished 4th, he wasn't a router, but he was one of the best sprinters in the country for 2 years. You bring him back to sprinting, and I think that Mystic Dan obviously has a lot of talent, but it may not be going long.
And finding that out, the sooner, the better in terms of a horse thriving at a sprint distance, or if in fact they belong on the Derby Trail. And Just Steel, I know the 9-5 morning line favorite. You don't think he's going to be the post-time favorite?
I have a hard time believing he's going to be favored because I can't. First of all, yes, he's got 2 fast figures, 2 very good numbers. But then he's got a plethora of mediocre at best numbers, and the distance is a real question. And the other thing is, you've got a lot of horses in here that are kind of interesting. I thought Catching Freedom would be favored. A lot of people are going to see the trouble this one had. I mean, Gettysburg Address, a bigger price than Morning Line. I don't see how Catching Freedom isn't a shorter price. Maybe Pratt takes some money. It's hard to know what prices they'll be, but I do think you want to find horses that you have a little bit more confidence can be effective going longer.
An exciting race. I think a better than par Smarty Jones. A different Smarty Jones, a little bit farther, mile and a 16th, and a bigger purse as well, $300,000 on the line, not to mention those Kentucky Derby points, 21 total. At Oaklawn, that's coming up, race 9 post time around 5:14 Eastern.
Reach for the unreachable. Race to new horizons. The artisan's quest for beauty burns in the heart of Japan, forging strength like no other, with love and honed to perfection. Noble, authentic, and only here. The legacy of strength.
The Run Happies are running, the Run Happies are selling, the Run Happies are winning. Eclipse champion Run Happy is showing a new dimension with winners on turf, dirt, and all weather. A record-breaking sprint champion, Run Happy is also showing winners at all distances.
The son of Run Happy, Nutella Fella, has won the hopeful.
One happy mama win the Iowa sorority.
Run Happy, price for value, and standing strong at Claiborne Farm.
New Vocations is the oldest and largest racehorse adoption program in the country.
We started the program in 1992, and we've placed over 7,000 thoroughbreds and standardbreds into loving homes. These horses were coming from 40 different racetracks across the country. We specifically work with owners and trainers who are looking for an aftercare option for their horses retiring. We take in horses from all over the country, as far as California, Florida, New York. Our largest facility is here in Lexington, Kentucky, but we also have facilities in Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, and Louisiana. The racehorses in general are extremely athletic. When they come into our program, we've always been amazed at how much they love to work and they love to have a job. Thoroughbreds, normally when you turn them out, the first thing they want to do when they're turned out in the field is run. It's really amazing to see how so many of them want to run the Kentucky Derby at least 10 times before they stop and start eating grass. And so when they retire from racing, it's important that we keep them active.
Thoroughbreds are naturally athletes. They make tremendous competitors, even in other disciplines. We have horses go on to be successful in dressage, different Western disciplines, eventing, show jumping, you name it. Polo, we have horses who have gone on to do it. So really the sky's the limit for these guys after they're done with their careers on the track. That's really just the beginning for them. And it's a much easier transition for them than people imagine. They just take to it so readily.
So what we've seen over the last 10 years is a huge growth in the number of people, owners and trainers specifically, who truly do care about where their retired racehorses are going when they leave the track. And we have some great supporters, great owners and trainers that have supported our efforts for many, many years because they really do care about their horses.
And new vocations, rehab, retrain, rehome, the organization for such an important cause. Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. As Andy and I are now joined by Maggie Wolfendale, who's currently defrosting in studio here. Maggie, how would you say, just in the time that you've spent in the industry, how would you say the enthusiasm has changed, the attitude in general, just towards thoroughbred aftercare in general?
So when I kind of got interested in it, I was a total outlier. You know, I was just taking horses from my dad and retraining them in dressage or jumping or what have you. And now it's this whole collective effort where we have so many TAA accredited organizations that are really there for the horse to find those new homes, to find those new careers. And even places like the TRF, for the ones that can't go on to be sport horses, they provide that soft place to land, but also provide that to incarcerated individuals, give them another opportunity to thrive.
Such an important cause. A salute to New Vocations and everything they do for the sport and the thoroughbreds once retired. We still have live racing coming up. Oaklawn Park, the main feature has been the Smarty Jones and the 3-year-olds coming up a little bit later on. That's race number 9. We still have race number 8. I believe horses are in the paddock. They're about 8 minutes out. Allowance sprint, 3/4 of a mile, $140,000 purse. Good size field with Bourbon Bash. Andy, the current favorite, number 3 at 2-1.
Well, I think Maggie and I are going to have the same feelings about this horse. Yeah, he's the fastest horse on his races on paper, and that reason kind of the horse to beat. But when you're 1 for 18 with 6 seconds, though I will say one thing, Maggie, before his last race, he wasn't a short price in a lot of those races.
No, he was big prices, and he was consistently running those numbers. Now, I'm always going to pay attention to horses that are new geldings, and he's one that in the limited times that I had seen him, whether it be in Saratoga or out there at Oaklawn, he was fairly high strung. Now, he certainly wasn't complimented by Mr. Bob winning this race, who subsequently hasn't done anything, but the horses that finished behind him have all run better.
Right, but the other thing that bothers me is he was finally a short price in a race.
And he's still
lost by a nose.
Yep.
So it's almost like he's just, and listen, a nose is a nose, but there are some noses that are bigger than others. And when you're 1 for 18 with 6 seconds, it's a big nose.
Yeah.
Difficult to ignore the lifetime record. 1 for 18, Bourbon Bash, 9-5. So if not him, Maggie, who'd you wind up with here?
I don't know. I mean, isn't Sinner Sin a little bit interesting? I know he only has kind of that one race, but I thought Plausible Denial, I thought he ran fairly well last time out, coming in off a little bit of a layoff. Andy?
I remember, I'll do the evens here, by the way, if we do the post-parade. But, you know, I remember when he showed up off a very big 2-year-old work. And he ran well in his debut, and then they stretched him out foolishly.
Yep.
But he's a bit of a money burner himself with the 7
Also
seconds
true.
and thirds.
Plausible Denial, 9-1.
It's a good name, though.
I love
Good
it.
name.
Great name.
We'll make the turn. We'll have the post parade. We'll check in with the guys on site and getting closer to that Smarty Jones race number 9, this 8th race. This is the smallest purse you will see for an allowance race at Oaklawn, $140,000.
Yeah, I mean, the money
Crazy.
that they give away there, not give away, you have to earn
You
it,
have to earn it.
obviously.
You got to earn it
It's
because they're all
available.
12-horse fields, so yeah, the purses are
Exactly.
good. But you better go there with a
But they
loaded
put
weapon
up.
because you're not winning races over there unless you've got the goods. I mean, they are running super, super competitive races. Yeah, the purses are good, but the racing is tough.
And
Go
good
ahead.
for them because they're the one place other than here, because we can have turf racing, but they don't have a turf course at all. And so they're having to play against these tracks like California or Florida or New Orleans that have those turf tracks, and they don't have that. So they have really put their racing again to the forefront in luring these big fields for horses on the main track.
And with Gulfstream running so much synthetic, I think a lot of connections are thinking, I'll go to Oaklawn, where I may
Exactly.
have gone to Gulfstream at one time.
And here, these allowance runners you saw, Underhill's Tab at 7-1, followed by WW Scout's Honor. Expected more in his latest.
Okay, Andy, I'll do the evens. Yeah,
I thought I said that.
I thought you said you'll do the evens. Anyways, I thought he was pretty even in
I'm
his last
odd.
effort.
I'm odd. I always do.
You're always odd.
You
That's
want
what I thought.
Tirico. You just want to talk about poor Mike Tirico's got a horse named for him, and he's slow.
Yeah, he's coming up next, though.
There he is.
Yeah, there's Tirico. I mean, he was lucky to win last time. I think at Laurel against Excellent Men, who bolted that day. Remember that race, Andy?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right.
He ran here.
So this is a tougher spot.
That's
Sinner
that
Sin.
race.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
that's that race.
The house horse, Luisella.
He's got back races going. His last race, obviously not good. Ron Maquette, a slow start to the meet.
Betty's Cash, unraced since winning closing day of the meet.
Well, typical of an Arkansas bred, only runs at Oaklawn, facing much tougher here, a little outclassed.
7 is out. Midnight Majesty in, representing speed.
Yeah, exactly. Complimented by the winner of that race last time, coming back, winning with an 81 yet again, but was doing it in Ohio. And last time we saw him at Oaklawn, he didn't run very well.
Touched on Plausible Denial earlier, that big effort, December 9th against several of these.
He lost to Billy Jack last time. And
Big
unlike
price.
you people, I'm an old timer, so I've seen the movie Billy Jack. Big cult movie back in the 70s.
Haven't seen Billy Jack.
One Tin
Didn't
Soldier.
have Billy
One
Jack.
Tin Soldier rides again, the song. Come on, guys.
We go back to
Mick's
discussing
seen
any
it.
given Sunday.
Mick's seen it, I guarantee it.
Happy as a choice. Happy as a choice. Words to live by, Andy.
So Happy as a Choice returns as a gelding. Did run
Not my
79
choice.
as a 2-year-old. I mean, if he can just improve off that effort, it makes him a player now as a newly turned 40.
Mr. Iceman, Southern California transplant, and then Hey Eugene on the outside. The Ohio bred.
He was really wide last time, I thought, and lost some. I thought he was kind of the long shot that had a little bit of a look here for Mike Maker.
That's the field for this 8th race. 6 furlongs allowance, $140,000 purse. 2-1 is the favorite. Currently number 3, Bourbon Bash. Richie, Paul on site. We have another layer, Richie, as the temperature continues to dip out at Oaklawn.
I'm cold, guys. I'm not going to lie. I usually can take it pretty well. When that sun went behind this grandstand a little while ago, it's got to be about 32 degrees right now.
Wow. And I was the one that was called soft. Okay, we'll get to this race. Race number 8, the race before the penultimate. Obviously, the Smarty Jones is next. And, you know, I look at this board and I get it. I understand that the 3 is your favorite. Obviously, the horse has been working great in the morning, first time gelding. But how do you get past 1 for 18 lifetime?
Yeah, 1 for 18 with 6 seconds. Maybe the gelding will, give this horse a little bit more of that killer instinct that we talk about, wanting to be the herd leader, because he's had opportunities, I thought, to get through this condition in the past and kind of just hung there with horses. But listen, gelding is something that sometimes remedies that situation. I thought the 2 WW Scouts Honor actually had a little bit of a look. I think you want speed today. This horse, I thought broke a touch flat-footed last time, and stalked the pace. Has that race under his belt at at the track, and breaks cleaner. Should be more forward. Again, really tough race to handicap.
Well, the hot horse at the window, and we can't dismiss this, is the 11. Now, we've been talking about a lot of these runners for Peter Miller that have come in here. A lot of them have been coming off turf. They've been tough reads, whether they've been able to run or not. Now, this gelding by Gervin has gotten works over the racetrack. San Luis Rey is a track close to Del Mar where Peter always had his horses. And this horse is taking a ton of money for Gary Barber, and Mr. Barber likes to wager.
Well, taking a lot of money, coming off a very sharp gate work here at Oaklawn Park, and 3 consecutive works here. Well drawn. Flavian Pratt should be forward. Also, we should mention the 12 horse, Hey Eugene, who I guess had a really tough time in this very tight, it's kind of a smaller paddock here at Oaklawn Park, acted up. He was kept out in the winner's circle, away from the other horses, was saddled out in the clear, and he was acting really, really well. Now, he's going to have to get faster, but at least he was acting properly.
Well, when you mention the 12, he's a 4-time winner. I get because of the condition. You got a lot of 1-time winners in here. The 2's an 8-time winner. So where do you end up landing here, Mig?
I'm actually going to take a little bit of a shot with the 2. WW Scouts Honor. I just thought that his last race was a little better than it looked, and I think he's going to be forward, and I want horses that are forward. And come on, man, I loved Billy Jack. That was a great movie. And why do you think I spent so much time up in the mountains? I'm doing my own vision quest like Billy Jack up there.
I'm with you. I'm on the 9. I'm going to go with the 9, plausibly deniable, 1 for 16 lifetime. But let's be honest, Billy Jack was the first one that saved horses from slaughter.
We're never getting away from Billy Jack, are we?
I knew I could count on my man, Mig. I knew I could count on Mig to come through.
I'm just in love with Mig's Carhartt hat. I mean, he's really assimilated to Arkansas.
He needs like the hat that Billy Jack wore, so like the black hat.
Never getting away from it. We're just
I'm
not going to be able to get away from it.
You got to see it. We should play One Tin Soldier going back to the commercial, I think. I know Richie knows One Tin Soldier.
I love that Andy, I love that you got that line about taking my right foot and put on the left side of your face. I always wanted to pull that one off. I just don't know if I'm flexible enough.
Ooh.
So
I
lost.
think I want a Billy Jack hat.
There, you see? I told you.
It is
Okay,
pretty
I'm going
cool.
to say the female lead is Dolores Taylor. Would that be correct, Maggie?
I mean, you probably are right.
I think she might have been his wife in real life, now that I think about
Yep.
it.
That
Tom
is
Laughlin.
pretty good.
Yeah. Oh,
That is
God,
pretty
it's
good.
a great movie. It's so dated if you see it now. It's so great, though. We love Billy Jack.
Billy Jack. How about Bourbon Bash at 5-2?
I
Final
like a Bourbon
thoughts, guys,
Bash,
as
too,
they
as
make
it
their
turns
way
out.
behind the gate.
Could use a little now, actually. Richie could use some. We could use extra bourbon to warm up there.
That'll keep him warm.
know?
That'll keep him warm.
I knew I was a little
Not yet,
suspicious
no,
of that
kidding.
big drink you got there, Mag. You were in
Finally
far
get to
too
the
good a
gate.
mood.
Matt Dinnerman is standing by. Post time, race 8 from Oaklawn.
Plausible denial, Bourbon Bash. Happy as a choice, Tarico. Mr. Iceman and Sitter Sid. And to round out the field, Hey Eugene. Mr. Iceman goes in. And then Hey Eugene to complete the line. They're reloading Underhill's tab. He's back in. We're ready to go. And Laroff. WW Scouts Honor is sent out of there to get forward position. Betty's Cash and also Sinner's Sin. Sinner's Sin aggressively ridden, strides in front with long shot Betty's Cash. And those two get acquainted on the lead. Mr. Iceman in the pink colors is 3 deep. Hey Gene is farther out in the 4th position. Tarico racing inside of him. WW Scouts Honor moving up to be on the heels of that leader down on the inside. Bourbon Bash is next in a tightly clumped up field. The Gray Midnight Majesty being joined by by Happy as a choice. They're 2 clear of Underhill's Tab, and Plausible Denial is the trailer as they round the 4 turns. Sinner's Sin emerges from the crowd a half length in front. Betty's Cash, that early pace setter, is dropping right out of it. Mr. Iceman picks up the running to come and challenge Sinner's Sin on the front end. These two square off the turn. Mr. Iceman outside, Sinner's Sin inside, and these two still going at it with WW Scouts Honor. Bourbon Bash ducking to the inside for the final 16th. Coming to that 16th pole, it's Mr. Iceman holding on. Bourbon Bash diving after this leader. Mr. Iceman holding on, though, and Mr. Iceman's going to score. Mr. Iceman and Flavian Pratt. Bourbon Bash second, WW Scouts Honor checks in third, and Sinner's Sin held fourth.
Well, the money was right on the button as Mr. Iceman didn't look like a loser. I turned to you, Mig, and I said the 11's going to be tough to beat here.
Yeah, and we've seen this trip now several times today with horses that have good speed but are under a stalking kind of trip from the outside, getting the best of it. He always looked a winner under Flavian Pratt. Your favorite, who had a dive down to the inside, Bourbon Bash, just looked uncomfortable from the
tiny
kickback,
bit, yeah.
and finally got himself on track. I thought the horse I liked, WW Scouts Honor, was getting the right trip. He flattened out a little bit, but no doubt about the winner. And I think that's the trip you want today. You want to be forward, and you want to be in the clear, Paul.
Yeah, you're right. There's just no passing zone. You got to be somewhere up front. 11-3, 2-5. And Lafitte, Maggie, and Andy, Mig and I have been talking about this. The next time Mig comes out here, we're just going to get a bunch of Screwball whiskey, which is peanut butter whiskey, and we're going to go like we're going to go to Lambeau Field and just go shirtless and paint Naira across our chests.
Again, that didn't go so well the first time, man.
Yeah, it's a great idea, Paulie. It's really. I'm out the 15th of January. Maybe we'll do it that day.
Where are you going?
Going to see my mom.
Oh, okay, that's acceptable. That's acceptable.
Thank you.
Mr. Iceman.
By the way, Catching Freedom is favored looking at the doubles.
Yeah, this horse was favored.
Catching Freedom, I mean the 2.
Oh, you mean
He's the
necklace,
favorite looking at the doubles. I'm looking with everybody, looking at doubles. Catching Freedom is no surprise. We talked about that and expected him to be favored. He is. And this double got pounded. This double was $8 for $1, and with the favorite, the 3, actually the same price, it was 11. This was kind of a they knew, wasn't it?
You
I mean,
think?
he had not run in the dirt in quite a while, and he'd been running credibly on the turf. They got back to the dirt. Obviously, that's the surface he belongs on. He showed up for Peter Miller. The money showed, he showed. And does Flavian Pratt ever not show? He's got to be a finalist for the Eclipse Award, doesn't he?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The IRAD's kind of is a lock to win it, but I thought Flavian and maybe Javier.
Yeah, I think it's those 3. But Irad's probably going to win it for, what, the 5th time, I believe?
He won almost $40 million in purses. I mean,
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Mr. Iceman, in from Southern California. Gary Barber, Peter Miller, Flavian Pratt. Back to the dirt for the first time in a while and strikes. Speaking of Catching Freedom, trained by that gentleman named Brad Cox, who's won 2 of the last 3 editions of the Smarty Jones. Talent and volume well represented in the Smarty Jones. First local step towards the Arkansas Derby. Next from Oaklawn.
Flightline is in full flight. Flightline turns it on at the top of the stretch, and he's in cruise control.
And Flightline takes off!
Take a good look at this, because you're not going to see this too often, maybe never again. Flightline, 20 lengths clear.
World-class racehorse, world-class performance at a world championship event.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
Charlatan is back, and he turns it on with 1/8 of a mile to go. Express Train moves into second. Nashville dropping out of it, and then Collusion Illusion. What a spectacular return for Charlatan, who will romp in the Run Happy Malibu Stakes by 4.5 emphatic lengths.
Silver State's somewhat of a throwback stallion. He was very durable. He won 6 times in a row across multiple tracks, Churchill, Oaklawn, Belmont, and he won the Grade 1 Met Mile, which is a very nice stallion-making race. Beat Horse of the Year Knicks Go, which he was the only horse to defeat Knicks Go the year they were running.
Finish in the Hillendale Met Mile, and it is Silver State to make it 6 in a row.
And his first falls have hit the ground, and we love what we've seen. He's throwing amazing consistency. There's plenty of substance and leg. We're really happy with what we have on the ground. And I don't think I've ever had more people tell me about a first-year horse than I have this year with people with Silver State foals. He's an imposing horse. Everyone that comes to see him that first year, it was amazing. They would come and see him, and they'd walk right into Bernie's office and sign a contract, or even ask if they could buy a share. The response to him has been phenomenal. He bred the most mares of any stallion that's ever been at Claiborne his freshman year. Very encouraging for the future, and hopefully we can get lucky.
You're watching America's Day at the Races, getting closer to the main event at Oaklawn. Coverage is always brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm, 100 years doing the usual, unusually well. And moments ago, with Mr. Iceman in from California, back to the main track. Sire was pretty good on dirt, Gervin, a Haskell winner, and Mr. Iceman handles his competition with ease.
Yeah, switching back to the main track after 4 consecutive tries on the turf in California, Lafitte. And really, he had run good enough races early on as a 2-year-old and early 3-year-old to make him effective here. And he was certainly a they-know horse.
They
New,
did.
I should say.
He actually may have been favored over the 3 Bourbon Bash. Just doesn't win. You do wonder, and I'm not trying to criticize Christian Torres. I don't think anything to do with him. Coming up the rail with horses that like to hang, probably not the greatest move, but I don't think he had any choice. I don't think it matters.
We've seen horses rally pretty well along the rail the first month or so of the meet at Oaklawn, but for Bourbon Bash, yeah, coming in, it's another
He's a very
second
polite
place
horse.
finish. Yeah.
Yeah. He says, no, you
Go ahead, you first.
Can't be on this show.
Mr. Iceman, 740 in the 8th. We turn the page in the Smarty Jones. 3-year-olds, it's different this year. Mile and a 16th, bigger purse, $300,000 purse. And he thought this might happen with Catching Freedom 3-2 early on.
People, and I'm not saying he can't win, but they get so enamored by horses with troubled trips, and he had one. But you know, Maggie, and I know we're going to show it at some point, it's one of those things where, yeah, he had trouble, and there's an argument he might have won if he had gotten out. But he also would have won the race with a perfect trip. So you got to say to yourself, what if he had won that race and he got an 82 buyer? Would you love him in here and say, well, he won last time with a perfect trip? So he is okay, and he's still good enough to win. I'm not taking 3-2 on him, though. I don't think he overlays this field.
Absolutely not. I think this is a really interesting race in here. I thought, honestly, the Asmussen horse on the rail, maybe I'm completely, off the map here, but Informed Patriot, I thought ran really well last time.
I agree.
One of the speed horses who actually stuck around in that allowance race. So, and he's run figures that are comparable to Catching Freedom.
I don't think he's impossible at all. I thought this was a wide open race in here. I don't have a big problem with Catching Freedom, but I think he's overbet.
Deep, competitive, about 17 minutes out. The Smarty Jones out at Oaklawn Park. And for Smarty Jones, one of the most popular thoroughbreds over the last however long, and part of the reason it was that catchy name, the Flash. He was undefeated going into the Kentucky Derby, Andy, and there he is running by Lionheart in the mud at Churchill Downs in the first Saturday in May.
His Preakness was a brilliant effort. One of the things that upset me about this Derby was because of that crazy rainstorm, and I'm sure you were there was like 2 inches of rain about 45 minutes before the race. I felt like the entire field didn't show up, particularly Birdstone, who did not get lucky to beat him in the Belmont Stakes, beat him fair and square. And I think that, and I'm not knocking him, but I thought that he and Lionheart sort of handled it, and nobody else did. His Preakness was brilliant. I mean, they got a 118 buyer that day. He won by a length of the stretch.
Maybe too brilliant.
Well,
Right.
Maybe too brilliant, maybe too fast.
I often think that.
Did Calvin Burrell blow it in the Belmont? I don't know, or Stuart Elliott, excuse me, Stuart Elliott.
Blame Calvin. Even though he wasn't there, blame Calvin.
They blame Jerry Bailey, right? Apparently it's Jerry's fault, right? Because he was aggressive
pressure
on a horse,
Exactly.
right? Be a bad guy. But Birdstone was never more than 4 lengths out of it in the race. It's not like he came from the clouds. Birdstone was a damn good horse. as was Smarty Jones, but so was Birdstone. I thought a lot of people said, oh, he got lucky to beat him, and I thought it was very unfair. What he got unlucky was he couldn't handle a sealed track.
I think people ultimately love Smarty Jones is because he was a blue-collared horse. He didn't have, that really lofty and shiny pedigree. He came from Parks. He was a PA bred. And so often in racing, we're romanticized by stories like that, and rightfully so. We don't often get to see that.
No, I think you're dead right. I think you are. I also was really sorry that they retired him because he could have run again. And I'd probably take the money too. So I totally get it. But he could have been a very good 4-year-old, and I was sorry we never saw him again.
We were hoping to see Smarty clash with Ghost Sapper in the Breeders' Cup Classic that year. We never had a chance to see it again. He didn't race after the Belmont Stakes. Richie, for you as a fan, what are some of the memories? What do you remember most about Smarty Jones?
Well, just listening to you guys, two things that stood out, and I was actually talking about this earlier with Paul. I rode Friends Lake in his Kentucky Derby. Friends Lake was a very bad gate horse, and the skies opened up, and there was a deluge, and there was water running from the outside fence down through the inside rail, and it was running right underneath the horse's legs in the gate. And when we got in the gate, Friends Lake started slapping and pawing at the water, and the assistant starter went to get him to stop. It's like, no, leave him alone because it'll keep his attention, because he would tear up a starting gate. And we let him play in the water until the last horse was going in. Then we straightened him out. We actually got away cleanly. We had no run. Smarty Jones was best. And in the Belmont Stakes, guys, I know Jerry Bailey got, to me, it just unwarranted criticism. Eddington was up forward. But when Eddington fell away early on the backstretch, Stewie Elliott, who I think is a terrific rider, made a little bit of a mistake, and he stayed out off the rail. And that allowed Rock Hard 10 to engage as soon as Eddington fell away. If he was on the fence, Rock Hard 10 would have been stuck behind him. It wouldn't have kept him keen. He would have got a really long breather, and the rail was golden. I wound up winning the last race for Barry Schwartz, wire to wire, on a horse named Bogota Bill after that. And I think if he had maintained his rail position, he would have got a breather, and Smarty Jones probably would have won the Triple Crown.
Hindsight 2020. Hard to believe it's been 20 years since the Smarty Party. And look, it's a Triple Crown. It's supposed to be hard for the jockeys out there. They're trying to win. And they're going to do what they can to compromise the chances of an odds-on favorite in a grade $1 million race.
And making Jerry Bailey's escape was one of the dumbest things I've ever. It still goes on to this day. It's like people can't get over it. Jerry's this great villain. Right, because he tried to win the Belmont Stakes. I think it's nuts.
I agree with you.
Smarty Jones, and his legacy continues, and all the damage he did at Oaklawn Park. His first start as a 3-year-old was here, correct?
Yeah, the Count Fleet.
The Count Fleet,
and
and
then
then
he
went on.
don't run anymore. Jerome sort of replaced him.
To Oaklawn Park, but then on to the Rebel in the Arkansas Derby and the victory in the Kentucky Derby. And today, that first step towards the Arkansas Derby. The Smarty Jones horses in the paddock. 21 Kentucky Derby points available, 300,000 on the line. That's next at Oaklawn Park. You'll see it right here on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2.
Just minutes from downtown Saratoga Springs, you'll find GMP Farm, a utopia of healing for equines and humans, offering revolutionary, customized equine care using state-of-the-art imaging and therapeutic technologies for horses of all disciplines. Immerse yourself in tranquility in our sacred spa, offering specialized spa treatments and holistic therapies to refresh and rejuvenate among tranquil mountain views. Start your journey to wellness. Visit gmpfarm.net and sacredspaandwellness.com to schedule a treatment today.
Has it really been 20 years?
And here is the first undefeated winner of the Kentucky Derby since Seattle Slough in 1977. Smarty Jones has done it.
20 years since that Pennsylvania bred with a catchy name who took the racing world by storm.
Here is Smarty Jones. He wins the Preakness by a dozen lengths.
As it turned out, not the fairy tale ending we wanted.
Can Smarty Jones hold on? Here comes Birdstone. Birdstone surges past. Birdstone wins the Belmont Stakes.
But a story we'll always remember. And that's why, on days like this, a race like this, we wonder, when will that next special prospect come along? The Smarty Jones Stakes is next. Newly turned 3-year-olds, Kentucky Derby 4 months out. And here are the Smarty Jones at Oaklawn Park, mile and a 16th. The field and updated odds with Catching Freedom at 3-2. Take a look at number 6, Gettysburg Address, ridden by Flavien Prat. Richie with Flavien earlier today.
Today in the Smarty Jones. This is a horse you got familiar with last time, and he showed big speed. See, the blinkers are off. Was that your suggestion, and is it the idea to get him to relax a bit more?
Yeah, I think he'll relax a bit better without the blinkers. Obviously, last time we draw on the inside, and I use him quite a lot to get going to the first turn, and so I think it might run differently today.
And what kind of a trip are you looking for today with him?
It's hard to tell. Obviously, we want to get a clean break and get him in the race, but I don't know exactly how much speed there's going to be in the race, so we'll adjust.
You know, one thing I've noticed over the last few years, Flavien, you make a concerted effort early looking for Kentucky Derby mounts, Kentucky Oaks kind of mounts. You do a lot of traveling. Is this kind of the thought process now, trying to find your Derby horse?
Well, I'm grateful enough to have the chance to travel and have opportunity to ride horses that could eventually get into the Derby. So yeah, as I think I'm in a position where I have the chance to do that, and I try to get the best out of it.
All right, well, it's really good to see you, and best of luck this afternoon, guys. I think he's going to be racking up the frequent flyers over the next few months.
A go-to rider. He's been there before, won a Derby, but by disqualification with Country House. Like, same with any other rider who wins a big race by DQ. You want to experience it and win it outright.
Absolutely.
But if you don't, getting put up on a DQ is second best.
There was a lot of drama. I keep thinking back to Flavien's face when they put up Country House, and he was just like, he was flabbergasted. I think everybody was that they actually took a horse down in the Kentucky Derby.
Shocked. And with Country House, and Flavien's had horses in the Derby. He's been close, and we'll see about this year. And long time between now and then, 4 months. He's on Gettysburg Address in the Smarty Jones Post Parade. There's Informed Patriot, who you said might be live at a price.
Yeah, Maggie's made a bit of a case for this horse, and he ran a decent Fig 2 back. He's a very big price.
Catching Freedom, the 3-2 favorite.
Should not be this short of a price. Did have trouble as the beaten favorite last time out, but I think there's some other horses in here that have talent.
Mystic Dan, contender.
He's taking an awful lot of money for a
That's
horse
Laganos, my fault.
that won an off-the-turf race last time. I guess he's not impossible. I don't know why he's a quarter the price of the one, though.
Rosario, Asmussen. There's Mystic Dan.
Mystic Dan looks like a very good sprinter, but they're going to try to stretch him out again here after a disappointing effort last time at Churchill.
Mo winning, one race, one easy win at Remington.
Probably going to be doing more Mo losing in this race. Easy win, but a soft field.
Gettysburg Address, and watch him early and how aggressive and how much he's pulling.
Right, blinkers off. They're hoping he does not do that this time around in his third career start.
Just Steele, D. Wayne Lucas, morning line favorite now 5-1.
And I agree with what Maggie said about Mystic Dan, as we talked about earlier, and I think it's the case with Just Steele. I think he might be a good horse, but I think his best races will be sprinting.
Long shots to the outside. There's Chaperone for Ron Moquett trying to pull off the upset.
Yeah, Ron Moquett is only one of 2 trainers in this field who's searching for his first Smarty Jones win.
Fidget, Brad Cox, not looking for his first Smarty Jones.
Yeah, probably the third likeliest of Brad Cox's horse. He's got a good figure out of town, but can he bring that Indiana for him? He's a big price if you like him.
The field, the 3-year-olds in the Smarty Jones Post time, 4 minutes. It's not always about the Triple Crown. It's not always about the Kentucky Derby in terms of horses that have run in this race and gone on to do bigger and better. And you look at Flat Out, an eventual two-time Jockey Club Gold Cup winner. Caleb's Posse, a Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile winner. Will Take Charge for Lucas. Combatant and Angel of Empire last year, second in this race. Came back to win the Arkansas Derby eventually.
Will Take Charge was a 3-year-old champion by the end of the year. He was a very good horse.
Winner.
He was unlucky in the Derby. He had a lousy trip. And Caleb's Posse, I mean, you know, you felt bad for Uncle Mo when he beat the King's Bishop off the layoff. He ran a huge race, but Caleb's Posse was an unlucky horse. A 4-year-old was in photos in all 3 of his races before getting injured. He was a tremendous horse. He was so good. He won a Breeders' Cup race with Regime Mirage.
And many other great ones.
Yeah.
Incoming text in 3, 2, 1. Out to Richie and Paul. 3 minutes out till the Smarty Jones, guys.
Thanks, Lafitte. Yeah, in 10 points on the line here, and it's the road to the Kentucky Derby starts here in about 5 to 10, 6, 7 minutes, somewhere in that area. And I think Catching Freedom in here has taken a lot of the money because the buzz that this horse has had in the morning. And in his last race, he was stymied, what it says in the notes. He had a lot of trouble. But are you a little worried the way this racetrack is playing?
Yeah, I think you want to be forward. I don't think you're looking to come from too far out of it. He's a horse that's more of a true closing type. Took money on debut and in his second start, and rightfully so, obviously tipped his hand training, but started out at a mile. That tells you that he's a horse that doesn't possess, you know, that kind of natural speed that some of these sprinter types in here have.
Yeah, and, you know, Florent Giroux not aboard. Christian Torres gets the opportunity here for Brad Cox. You know, some of the other horses in here, I'm kind of in agreement. I do think that the 2's the horse to beat, but do you want to take that short of a price? Just Steel ran giant last time out, and the number came up huge. You're just worried now, is this horse a sprinter?
Well, that's it. I mean, his best races obviously have been sprinting. He loses Joel Rosario to the Steve Asmussen trainee, and he did stretch out in the Breeders' Fraternity, and I thought he was going comfortably. He just kind of fell apart under a hold, and that kind of usually tells you a horse doesn't want to go that far. You understand connections with a good 3-year-old, wanting to see if they can stretch out, because everybody wants a Derby horse, but, you know, sometimes horses, we have one idea, horses have another idea. I think Maggie makes a really good point about the 1 Informed Patriot. I think this horse is really interesting. I love his pedigree. He's a full brother to a Breeders' Cup Mile winner and Spun to Run, gets a good inside draw, should be forwardly placed. And if a couple of the horses that are more sprinter types, Paul, show that good speed but can't stay, he might be in a position to take advantage and get first run.
Well, he's bred immensely. I mean, he's a full to the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile winner, Spun to Run. He's got a ton of pedigree. And, you know, so does the 2 Catching Freedom. I'm going to stick with this horse. I know that, you know, I'm taking the 9 to 5 shot, but this horse reminds me a lot of Angel of Empire, who I did like going on the Derby Trail last year. I'm just worried that he's going to get behind the 8 ball. I do like that it's only a shorter type of field, so maybe he'll stay out of trouble. I think he's the real deal, and I think the other part is this horse has been prepared at fairgrounds. A lot of the Brad Cox horses that have run here so far have been prepared here or at Churchill Downs, so I know Brad's had his hands on this horse.
Yeah, and I mean, Brad's got off to an uncharacteristically slow start in this early Oaklawn Park meeting. I think the 6 horse is very interesting. Gettysburg Address. I mean, he's a horse. I like the blinkers coming off. He has enough speed to get himself a position without having to be overly involved. I like that Flavien Prat stays put here. And this year we're going to have the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga, American Classic at America's Classic Racetrack. The first meeting in Saratoga was within 6 weeks of Gettysburg. Wouldn't it be cool to see Gettysburg Address at Saratoga for the Belmont Stakes?
Enough said.
As they march towards the starting gate, guys, and Catching Freedom 9 to 5, the favorite. Andy, just how much there's trouble and then there's trouble. What did you make of his latest effort and the scenario he found himself in?
Just one of those cases where what Richie talks about unlucky rides, where Florent Giroux was really given a good ride, just got completely, just like every move he made was the wrong one. But I ask you, Maggie, he was getting a very good trip up to that point. Maybe he would have won the race, but would we think he ran this terrific race, or are people overrating the trouble? I'm not sure I know the answer.
Yeah, right, exactly. I think they are. people love to bet trip horses, and rightfully so. They often do win. But at this price, given, when you're dealing with these young horses, these newly turned 3-year-olds, there's so many variables. There's so much room to improve for a horse that is under the radar to jump up and run better. So you're not necessarily dealing with the proven commodities that, let's say, we saw in the race before. So I think to take a short price on anybody in here is silly, to be honest. And I will stick with the fact that I really like number 1, Informed Patriot. I love the fact that Richie brought up the pedigree as well. I saw this horse first time out in Saratoga. He looks just like his full brother, Spun to Run. And I got to give a little nod to one of my favorite sires in Hard Spun, who he's just an underrated sire, standing for the 35,000, and produces such nice horses. And think about the Hard Spun that Steve Asmussen had, Silver State, and what he was able to do with
that mile winner.
Exactly, with developing that horse to be a very nice one and standing at Claiborne Farm.
I don't think there's any trainer that is better at developing routers on the dirt than Steve Asmussen. And a lot of times it's in their 4-year-olds later in their 3-year-old year, but he's so good at it.
But also, it's not like he tries to put a square peg in a round hole, too. Like, if they're not...
Jackie's Warrior.
Jackie's
We
Warrior.
were talking about it before
Yeah.
you were on the show. Absolutely. I don't think, listen, obviously Steve wins a lot of races at, so a lot of them are lower level tracks and such, but I don't think you've had the kind of success that Steve has had by being foolish.
Yeah.
Steve knows how to win races, and you win races by running your horses in races they can win.
Right.
You don't win by running races you don't belong in.
Just has to figure out how to beat Rich Strike in the Derby. That's all.
Brutal.
Epicenter runner-up a couple of years back.
Yeah.
Here.
You can understand, the Derby and the Preakness for Steve, I'm sure, was a recurring nightmare. He felt like he
It's just insane
arguably
that
could have run the best horse both times and came up second best both times. He's had a lot of success, so you have to lean on, but
I think he just laughs about it
Derby.
now. I'm sure it eats at him, but now it's just gone to the point where he's just like, I gotta laugh.
Maybe this is
what
the
else
year.
can I do?
Maybe this is the year. We'll find out in 4 months. We talked about number 6, Gettysburg Address, and how much he'll pull, how eager he'll be. What else are we looking for from the start?
He looks just like a tough horse to handle. Look, he's balking at the gate. Seems like a horse that lacks a bit of focus, a bit of manageability for his rider.
Catching Freedom, the favorite. Andy, where should he be early on?
Pretty far back, frankly, because I think they're going to be moving up front. I think any of the 4, 6, and 7 can be forward. So I think that you're going to see Torres just let him find his position.
Hoping for a cleaner trip this time. Matt Ditterman with the call. Post time, 3-year-olds and the Smarty Jones live from Oaklawn.
To the outside post. Here's Fidget. We're ready to go in the Smarty Jones. And Lair off. Some bad crowding at the start. Gettysburg Address got the worst of it. Drops to the back of the pack after that. Laganos has speed with Mystic Dan, who's routing for the first time. Mystic Dan, Laganos, Jess Steele wants to be part of the action on the lead. Those 3 across the track. Laganos holds the inside spot. Mystic Dan on his throat latch, just a neck behind. Now a half length as Laganos is a clear leader. But Mystic Dan keeping the pressure on all the way. Jess Steele in the 3rd position. He's on the outside on a hold right now. Then there's a line of 3. Mo Winning tugging a little bit behind the speed. The jockey trying to get him to relax. He's been passed by Informed Patriot on the inside. Fidget in the Calumet Farm colors is 6 now in the black. 4 lengths off the lead. A length and a half better than Catching Freedom, Chaperone, and Gettysburg Address after getting squeezed at the break is last as they approach the 4-turn run. Joel Rosario lets Laganos open up a little bit here. He lets him stride out, and he's gone on to set the pace by a length and a half. Mystic Dan in the 2nd spot. Jess Steele is still 3rd, but he's getting closer now. Mystic Dan only a neck behind. Laganos, who's still in front. Mystic Dan turning up the pressure. Jess Steele is 3 wide. Informed Patriot right behind them. Catching Freedom's going to get to the outside. He's being pumped upon to get going, but swings to the extreme outside as they come off the turn. Mystic Dan, Jess Steele is right there to tackle. Catching Freedom on the far outside. Informed Patriot getting bumped around at the rail. Jess Steele in front. Inside Mystic Dan back to 2nd, and Catching Freedom is finding his best stride now. And Catching Freedom and Christian Torres racing clear. He kicks off his year with 10 Kentucky Derby points. Catching Freedom over Jess Steele. Informed Patriot, photo for 4th. Gettysburg Address and Mystic Dan.
A pumped up Christian Torres wins the Smarty Jones for Catching Freedom, and I think he's signing a sense. Here's a young rider that might have himself a nice little shot to get himself into the Arkansas Derby and maybe the Kentucky Derby. Catching Freedom showed up today.
He did, and he made a nice, long, sustained kind of run. And this was an impressive performance because this was against the grain of this racetrack, Paul. And he was able to tip out to the clear, late getting over to his right lead, but had momentum, and he really finished the deal. There were a lot of trips, a lot of things to dissect in this race. Obviously, the biggest thing being the 4-horse.
Yeah, what'd you notice out of the gate, Mick?
Mystic Dan, he kind of half bobbled, but broke out severely. It affected the 6 Gettysburg Address most, who was last into the first turn.
It was flying on the outside.
And he came running. So this was a big effort from him because he was basically eliminated at the break. But take nothing away from Catching Freedom, who, to me, again, overcame the grain of the racetrack, although it was a legitimate pace, 23 flat. Another horse to keep an eye on out here, I think, is Informed Patriot, who was in very tight, turning for home. Really kind of had to extricate himself from tight quarters and tried to run on after that. I thought there were several trips in here and a lot to kind of dissect. This is a race you're going to have to watch over several times.
You are. And listen, Just Steel, this was a big race for Just Steel to prove, hey, I might not be able to get all the way around the 2 turns, but I'm good enough. He was really game today for D. Wayne Lukas. But Brad Cox gets it done. He was second last year with Angel of Empire, but he got the Arkansas Derby money. He gets the money this year with Catching Freedom.
Same connections. Albaugh Family Stable, Brad Cox, Angel of Empire last year in the Arkansas Derby. Here they win the Smarty Jones, Catching Freedom, and a fired up Christian Torres at the wire.
This one, a little bit of a more lofty pedigree, being a son of Constitution, but as Paul said, cannot fault the effort that we saw from Just Steel, as you're going to see the 6 in here get ping-ponged around after just breaking maybe a touch slow, but Gettysburg Address getting slammed from either side put him in last early, Andy.
And not just last, Maggie, a distant last. Yeah. And he was coming at the end. I think he finished 4th or 5th, but he was making a big run at the end, which I think flatters Just Steel kind of the most, because Just Steel was not only on the pace the whole way, but he was wide and doing it. Your horse didn't want to come the inside, and he can't knock the rider. He just didn't want to do that. I mean, Ricardo was doing the right thing in that situation. And listen, I think the winner's a nice horse, Catching Freedom. I think people are going to get a little carried away with him because they liked him coming in, and he had the trouble because he had a trouble trip last time. He had about as good a trip and good a ride as you could possibly get.
And the assumption, because he closed in 1 at 1 1/16, that he's just going to get better and better and better as distances go on. The assumption.
Right. That's what. And look, I'm not going to necessarily fault people because you can see he was going best late, but he got the perfect trip to do so.
And Mystic Dan, yeah, it was him that it was, as Richie said, it wasn't a bad stumble. It was kind of a bobble, but then veered out and taken the worst of it, as you mentioned, the Gettysburg Address. No such problems for Catching Freedom on this afternoon. Christian Torres fired up 10 points towards the Kentucky Derby. Catching Freedom takes down the Smarty Jones at Oaklawn.
Spun to Run. His brilliant speed figures were among the fastest of any 3-year-old at a mile or more, and he hails from the legendary Danzig sire line. Now, this multiple graded stakes winner, millionaire, and Breeders' Cup champion is passing his remarkable talent along to his progeny.
95, 5, 200, 200 down, 2, in the back, Patrick, 200,000, thank you.
Spun to Run, standing at Gainesway.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with NYRA Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with NYRA Bets.
At Three Chimneys, our name is our promise. Our commitment to quality, our customer, and most importantly, the horse, is at the heart of who we are. For over half a century, the storied Stallion Station and Nursery have been a place where dreams are born. From Horse of the Year, the mighty Seattle Slew, to Horse of the Year and modern-day breed shaper, Gunrunner, we've been defined these past 50 years by the company we've kept. Three Chimneys, where dreams are born.
Fight, take
Exciting edition of the Smarty Jones. Welcome back. America's Day at the Races. Brought to you in part by Naira Bets. But any track, anywhere, anytime, visit NairaBets.com or download the Naira Bets app to get started. Money showed up on Catching Freedom. Troubled trip in his most recent. Clear sailing on this afternoon. And running by a gutty effort from Just Steele here. But in the end, Maggie, just too much Catching Freedom.
Yes, he got a great trip and ride with Christian Torres, able to just lay off the pace, comfortable, tip out once he saw daylight. He ran on quite nicely, but as you mentioned, Just Steele, he was very game, attending the pace while 3 wide throughout. The other pace runners would fade away here eventually, and he was the only one left around. So Christian guiding Catching Freedom to the outside and with that sustained rally.
I don't have an opinion on this one way or the other. I was curious if you did. It took him an awfully long while. It felt like when he wheeled him out in the stretch,
he took a while
he's
to
going to
switch
sort of
leads.
right, yeah. So it's just sort of like
once he switched leads, he leveled off quite nicely. He switched just 5 strides before, and with some left-handed encouragement, he's going to kick on here.
Room for improvement. It's just his 3rd career start.
No, I'm not knocking him, but I got a feeling he's going to be the latest flavor, and it's Brad, and so they're going to be talking about him, and rightfully so. But the races are going to get a little bit tougher at some point, and at some point the trips may get a little tougher too. This horse that got just as good a trip and setup as you could get.
I agree with you, and there were some trips from his stablemate as well, Gettysburg Address, as well as the one Informed Patriot trying to sneak through on the rail. So neither of them in necessarily comfortable positions early in the game, and then with one late in the game.
Catching Freedom in the Smarty Jones. Again, that first step towards the Arkansas Derby. At the end of the month in January, it's the Southwest with a bigger purse, same distance, mile and a 16th. The Rebel late February, and finally the most lucrative of all Kentucky Derby prep races, the $1.5 million Arkansas Derby, March 30th. For these, very connections. Last year, the Albaugh family stable, trainer Brad Coxon. Remember, he was, Forte scratched, of course. He would have been the favorite, but Angel of Empire was the post-time favorite in the Derby. Ran well. We'll see about Catching Freedom moving forward. Paul standing by live at Oaklawn with winning pilot, Christian Torres.
I am with winning pilot here, Christian Torres, who gets the job done in the Smarty Jones. And Christian, I haven't seen you that pumped up in a while.
It's fun, to win these kind of races. These are the races that every jockey dreams to win, and especially it's point for the Derby. It's our goal for every jockey's goal is to be in the Kentucky Derby and just to win a race, that can give points for to the horse, and it's just making it more fun.
You told me right before we did this interview, you're like, I'm so pumped up I won this race for Brad.
Yeah, Brad's is a great trainer with great horses, and I'm very thankful that he gave me the opportunity, one of his best horses coming to this race, and very happy to win for him.
Christian, you've only been riding for a little while. To get into that Derby gate, I know your wife is here and your family's here. This is a whole family affair. What would it mean to get into that Derby gate?
Oh, it's going to be a dream for my whole family. I've been dreaming to be winning races and just being in. If I'm able to get in the gate in the Kentucky Derby, it's going to be a dream for my whole family. It's something that I don't know how I'm going to feel, honestly.
Well, congratulations. Christian Torres gets the job done on Catching Freedom here in the Smarty Jones, and 10 points towards the Kentucky Derby.
Excited, hopeful, and rightfully so. Christian Torres, last year at Oaklawn, more than 100 wins, leading rider. Now takes down the Smarty Jones with Catching Freedom. More on his story, and our coverage continues. America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2.
They're coming down for the finish, and it is Silver State.
$140,000.
Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome to the Adelphi Racing Club experience. Take ownership of stakes-winning thoroughbreds like Funny How, racing at the highest level circuits.
Funny How is in front. It's Funny How who's up by 3 lengths, approaching the 16th pole. It's all Funny How. Funny How, Katie Davis more than amused.
Funny How wins the Broadway.
Contact us online to get a taste of the Adelphi difference, and let's win races together.
I used to play baseball, but I didn't see myself growing up much, so I decided to quit and just finish school.
Growing up in Puerto Rico, Christian Torres would watch television with his grandpa and cousins, which would eventually influence what sport he'd pursue.
I decided to be a jockey when I was, I can say like 10 years old, because I grew up around horses and animals in Puerto Rico. And I grew up watching races with my grandfathers, and they used to take me to the racetrack too. I fell in love with it.
Christian moved to Orlando with his family to attend high school before moving back to Puerto Rico to attend the jockey school.
But I was in the exercise rider program. I wasn't like in the jockeys. They have the exercise rider and jockeys program.
Unfortunately, Hurricane Maria complicated those plans.
And I entered the exercise riders program each year. And that was when Hurricane Maria hits Puerto Rico, and I didn't finish it because the racetrack, we couldn't do anything.
Christian has had his patience tested with all the detours that have included stops in Pennsylvania, working as an exercise rider for 2 years.
Yeah, it's been a rough trip, but it's been worth it.
He'd win his first race in April of 2019 at Gulfstream Park. 2 months later, Christian's grandparents and cousins visiting from Puerto Rico watched him win in the United States for the first time, wearing t-shirts with his picture on the front and our champion written on the back. Torres closed out 2022 with a bang.
And now, returning to the Larry Snyder Winner's Circle, jockey Christian Torres.
He was the leading rider in 2 states, Arkansas and Oklahoma, helping him win Jockey of the Week honors.
We've watched this guy for a little while, and like I said, good young kid and good attitude. He's got a bright future ahead of him.
On December 17th, Torres rode at Oaklawn during the day, and that night he won a stakes race on the closing day at Remington to wrap up his first riding title.
Flew to Oklahoma, rode over there at night, came back the same night. It was really tough, but it was worth it. We got 2 wins here, 1 win over there. I love everything. I love the atmospheres, I love the track, I love the people. Since the first day that I got here, I just fell in love, and I love it.
Oaklawn's 22 and 23 meet will especially be memorable for Christian and his longtime girlfriend, Valerie. They were married on Valentine's Day in Hot Springs with their daughter, Ainoa, by their side.
With everything that is happening now, I'm just very blessed.
Christian Torres, and on top of all that, now a Smarty Jones winning jockey, Paul. And in that post-race interview, you could tell just the excitement, the enthusiasm at the possibility even to have a chance to ride in a Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is a kid that's come a really long way. And I kind of relate with him to the point that he's had to wait a little bit and had to wait a couple years on the sideline. And sometimes, I talked to Christian about this, sometimes your mind's not ready at that point in your career, and you're wondering now that he got that time to wait and learned his lesson a little bit, as into be a bit more patient, and now his mind's in the right spot.
Well, and you can see the confidence has come with his ability in getting the opportunity to ride live horses, take down some leading rider titles, and now having a live 3-year-old. Now the key is, because there's so many high-profile riders, to keep him out like this, and that's difficult. He's talented. I think connections do well to give a young guy that opportunity and keep him on a horse, because it builds even more confidence. And once they have that confidence in the horse, they are going to give that horse every single opportunity. It's difficult, though. It's a process. He's come a long way in a short period of time, and Paul, like for any baseball player, you want to play in the World Series. Any football player, you want to play in the Super Bowl, the Stanley Cup. If you're a hockey player, every rider wants to win the Kentucky Derby. It's just now you hope he stays healthy and his career will continue to flourish.
Yeah, and he talked about a little bit. I said, Christian, what will it feel like when you get in that starting gate? He says, I don't know. So I posed that question to you, Mr. Migliore, because I know you were in that starting gate 6 to 8 times. Is it nerve-wracking? Do you go through it at night a million times?
It's interesting. I really don't remember being nervous in my first one. I rode a bunch on the undercard from Mark Cassidy. We were both young guys. I had ridden a lot from Mark at that point. And I remember telling him in the paddock, I'm surprised I'm not more nervous. When I heard my old Kentucky home, doesn't mean as much to me. Sidewalks in New York mean more to me than my old Kentucky home. But you kind of start getting the weight and the impact of it. I also rode a horse, Eternal Prince, that had packed a lot of racing in a short period of time, was a little bit over the top, and then Spend a Buck ran everybody off their feet. I got a lot of criticism because I didn't break well in the Derby. That was one of my strengths. I was a good gate rider, and I get left in the Kentucky Derby. But it's great to be there, and I can't imagine what it's like to actually win it.
Yeah, and I think the other part of this, guys, is that Maggie, great job on that package, too. And I think the part of it, too, is his wife and their whole team, his whole team that's around him, his family is at the racetrack every day. His little daughter's here all the time. The support that he gets to at home is a big part of it, especially when you're getting into this high of a level.
Christian Torres, guys, there's 2 jockeys that have won 100 races in a single season at Oaklawn. Like, one of them's named Pat Day. The other's Christian Torres. I get there's a lot more racing now than there used to be, but still, the season he had last season at Oaklawn, and still room to grow. So much talent, and he's only been doing this for a short period of time.
Exactly, and I like the fact that he actually was a part of the exercise riding school, not the jockey school. So he actually had that, firm foundation of getting on horses in the morning and not just trying to go out there and be a jockey right away. So I think that paid dividends into his career early on. And two, he's such a nice guy. I mean, he's just always been so nice and polite.
He's come a long, long way for a guy who's ridden for about 10 seconds, and he's already riding at a very high level. I'm glad I didn't have to be the one to break the news to him. I'm guessing that Florent Giroux's agent, John Pendergast's probably already texted Brad Cox and asked if they're getting back on.
That was a loner. That was a loner. We'll see how that all unfolds moving forward and on to the second step en route to the key, the Arkansas Derby, the Southwest, at the end of the month. One final race, Arkansas Breds to close out the New Year's Day program. 3-year-olds and up, 6 furlongs, $115,000 purse. Time and Beyond, the current 5-2 favorite.
Time and Beyond. Where is Time and Beyond?
I think makes sense as the favorite.
Oh. Yeah, but I just don't like the fact that the horse has had so many chances. That's my knock. It is probably the horse to beat.
But only 3 chances against Arkansas Breds.
That's true. That is a good point, Maggie. Who did I like here? I like somebody.
Maybe Sky Raven, who's on the screen at 46-1.
What about
like going bombing away?
Yeah, I don't like him. But Fries Dur for the first time. Been running Canterbury. Not really much of a pedigree at all.
There's the favorite.
Yeah, Time and Beyond goes out here for Ron Moqued. Has held his own at times with open company and gets a fast track. 2 of those 3 times against Arkansas Breds has been on wet tracks.
Our Heavenly Gift needs to pick it up.
Also runs against Archie Breds for the first time, but would have to improve. You're right.
Bradford, Steve Asmussen, first after the claim 5-1.
He's insatiable. I mean, once the action
Loves
claims
the
this
action.
one for
Archie
himself.
Breds for 20,000. He's a sick man.
Turns him back. I mean, this horse has no speed going longer. He's going to have to instill a lot more speed.
Eric
in the
looking for a
saddle.
first win, right, in the
Yeah.
saddle.
Wow,
There's Task
cool.
at 9-1.
Yeah, I guess Tack's not impossible. A second-time starter tries the dirt for the first time. There's actually no turf pedigree, so might be able to handle the dirt.
Money Strike outsider, Chris Linderos.
Yeah, another one that goes from turf to dirt off a bit of a layup. Definitely needs to improve on this surface.
Hess, live on the board, first-time starter.
Well, you know what's interesting about this horse, and Maggie, you probably looked it up too. A half to this horse already broke its maiden first time out at the Oaklawn meet for Randy Morse. So the 3-year-old, I think, won like 3 weeks ago.
Only allowed to run at Oaklawn. Welcome to Arkansas.
It's such a great name, right? And has yet to do so. It's just perfect.
You may not get a very good welcome.
You have
This
to
horse.
stay
Yeah.
here. Outlaw Run and Chelsea Bailey.
Cuts back in distance, but has yet to do any running.
5-2, God's Country contender.
Yeah, absolutely. Has already had a start at the meet, resulted in a third-place finish. It was the lukewarm favorite that day on debut.
There he is, 5-2, co-favored. Manny Escobar in the saddle, then Hard Luck Henry. Not much in his first two, idle since early April.
He hasn't even been fast enough to be Hard Luck yet.
Rocco Bowen in the saddle.
Maggie loves Rocco Bowen. She's Rocco's biggest fan.
Secret
Yeah, well,
strategy.
Nancy holds that.
Oh, you love Rocco. Come on.
No, Nancy holds that on there for sure.
Secret strategy of the far outside.
Yeah, gets Lasix forward the first time, second time against Archie Breds. There's room for improvement, finishing behind God's Country.
Richie and Paul, nice, easy Arkansas-bred maiden race to close the show.
Oh, okay, Maggie. Sky Raven is Mark Valesky. Who's the best Mark Valesky ever run?
It's a Chad horse.
That's horse, yeah.
Yeah, these Archie bred races are very, very tough. And, you know, when you get to this race, it's very interesting because the 10 in here in God's Country, you know, Maggie made a good point. A start over this racetrack as a first-time starter. We haven't seen many first-time starter Arkansas breds win, and this horse ran a solid third-place finish. Was a 4-1 favorite. That just shows you the field was wide open last time.
Yeah, absolutely. Now that race under the belt could take a step forward. We were both taken with the physical impression that Hess made, the first-time starter for Randy Morse. Sources by a stallion, Moonshine Mullen, who's by Albert the Great. We were in DeLuca's last night. Who was in DeLuca's but Albert the Great's trainer, Nick Zito?
Yes.
This horse has got some fast works going back to Churchill Downs. And I think this first-time starter has taken enough money to point out that has been impressive in his morning trial.
Something's going on here because Martin Garcia, when we went up to do the interviews a little bit earlier, Martin Garcia came out of the room. Now, he had a mount earlier that was scratched. He picked up another one, but he stuck around for the 7 here. And the works in the morning are maybe tipping this Colt's hand, like our Gelding's hand. I mean, he's getting bet down to 7-2. Now, the favorite, well, was your favorite, is the 2, and I'm in agreement with Maggie. This horse is a player in here, Time and Beyond from Ron Moquette. You know, whenever you take these Arkansas breds somewhere else, it's really, really difficult. He tried this horse at Indiana and Keeneland, so obviously this horse had been training well, now back in against his own kind.
Yeah, no doubt. And actually, now favoritism switched over to the 10 horse, God's Country, off of that one good effort. Listen, Bradford was slow early going a mile at Churchill Downs. A very astute claim by Steve Asmussen, the 4 Bradford here. For $20,000, he's in for a $115,000 purse. And the best thing you could hope, get a couple of checks, hit the board a few times before you actually break your maiden. You're going to accumulate some decent purse money.
You ever seen the movie Moneyball?
Yeah, I love that movie.
Well, there was a guy named Chad Bradford that was actually part of Moneyball. I got to catch him, Lafitte. I don't think he wins this race, Chad Bradford. He was a submariner, was a pretty good pitcher. I'm going to go with Task for Ernie Witt. For a lot of people who don't know, was a great catcher for the Toronto Blue Jays, but this is a different Ernie Witt. His horses have been firing. I'm going with Task.
Ernie Witt, that's like in the mid-'80s, those Lloyd Mosby, Rance Mullenix teams, Julio Franco, I believe Jesse Barfield. You remember those
That was
Blue Jay teams,
before your
don't
teams
you?
went out and spent $1 billion in the offseason to try to buy a championship.
When baseball wasn't
when
fun.
those
It's a
Dodgers
lot more
lose that
fun
first round
now.
of playoffs this year, I'm going to text you immediately.
You're super obsessed. You know who's like typically, who doesn't like teams who spend money? Fans of teams that don't. But you're a Met fan, so this doesn't jive. The
Not
Dodgers
anymore.
are doing what
Not
the
anymore.
Mets
He's
did
an
last
O's
year.
fan.
I'm an
He's
O's
an
fan.
Orioles
I'm an O's
fan.
fan, and I don't like
That's
the Mets
very hard
because
to-
they're spending money. Actually, I can't root for them the way I used to because of the way they're spending money, to be honest with you.
I'm going to send you a Dodger World Series champion T-shirt.
You still
Got
have
some
to
of the
wear the
guys.
Mr. Met outfit
Oh,
on the
that's
show
right.
one day.
No, yeah,
so
that's right. Do I have to provide it as well?
No, I'll work something out.
We'll figure it out. No, I don't welch. Paulie,
Paulie
you
will
see,
get the
you hear
Mr.
that,
Met
like the
outfit for him.
disdain from Andy Serling for what the Dodgers are doing. God forbid they try and win.
It's getting a little bit unfair, let's be honest. There's going to be like 9 or 10 teams that are unwatchable. But here's the deal. There's like 6 or 7 Mr. Mets. I don't know if you guys know that. So, Andy, there's plenty of costumes we can get Lafitte in.
Paulie, there's 6 or 7 plus 1. So there's 7 or 8. Because Lafitte's going to be Mr. Met soon. Next time you come to New York, you
All we need
We'll work
is
it out.
all we need is who can we get to be Mrs. Met?
Don't look at me.
Well, Lafitte could be Mrs. Met too. I haven't said it. I don't want to keep it.
Depending
You
on
know,
the costume.
whatever. You know,
Depending
Paul,
on-
you're
I
up to
did-
you to get the costume,
I
the
did
appropriate
lose.
costume.
I did lose at
That's right.
some point.
Not only that, the Dodgers, I recall, won the first game of the 3-game series. The
They
Mets
did,
won the next
which
2.
was really frustrating,
You were very
naturally.
excited by that.
I was texting you.
It was
talking
actually
trash.
wearing Mets gear on the show.
Yeah, that's what it was. We'll do it.
Okay.
We'll do it. I tried to go double or nothing.
I
Andy
can't wait for
wasn't-
the O's
Andy
beat
wasn't
them.
having
and
it.
Maybe the O's will beat them in the series.
And then we can wear all of our Orioles
Yeah.
stuff.
Then we can really make fun of Lafitte.
I admit, I have not been a baseball fan as of the last 20 years.
Bright
Those-
future
Ever
in
since
Baltimore.
Cal retired.
Bright future in Baltimore. Who do you think, speaking of a bright future, who's going to graduate here? These Arkansas Breds. Final thoughts
They're
with
so
what time? It'll be
chaotic.
on 9 to 5 now.
So is the 7, we missed the wedding for the 7, with the half already winning. Randy Morse had a very good meet last year, and I think he started off pretty well.
I
So I've
agree.
been keeping an eye on him, and I'd be interested in a first turn here. I don't have a. The other one is, why is Bradford 7 to 1? Isn't he kind of an overlay in
He
here?
has no speed in the way the track's
Yeah,
been playing
that's
today.
fair.
It doesn't really.
A lot of Moneyball fans watching.
You're right. He has no speed. Well, probably brought that up. I love Moneyball. Great
Moneyball's a
book,
great
great
movie.
movie.
They did fail to
Yeah, I get
mention the Oakland pitching, though.
Yes, Paulie's talked about that, and he's not wrong. But it's a great story. I mean,
It's a great story. But
I-
they also had like Zito and Mulder and Hudson.
I
and,
like
that had a lot to do with the success.
I always like when that scene when Brad Pitt who's playing Billy Bean, he says to the scout, I've been with you at the table when you sit with those kids and you say, when I know, and you don't. And it almost reminds me of racing a little bit, with
Absolutely.
like yearlings and those kind of things. There's
Very relatable.
yeah.
Moving into line, one final time on this New Year's Day card out at Oaklawn Park. Matt Ditterman with the call. Arkansas Red Maidens in the 10th and final.
God's Country still waiting behind the gate. Here's Task. Bradford has gone forward as well. Two back, actually 3. Money Strike still behind the gate as well. Hard Luck Henry. These 2 loads simultaneously. And Secret Strategy to the outside. The rider hopped off Hard Luck Henry, Rocco Bowen. Hard Luck Henry now goes into the gate without the jockey. Secret Strategy to round out the field. We're ready to go in the finale on New Year's Day. And Leroff in the nightcap. Money Strike from the middle of the pack, being asked for speed, put into play. He's got a narrow lead in the early stages. Welcome to Arkansas, the long shot, pressing him. God's Country in a perfect position, third, stalking the pace. Hard Luck Henry is right behind him. Then there's a wall of horses. Hess is there with Our Heavenly Gift. Task Between Horses now approaching the turn. A gap of 2 lengths to Secret Strategy. Sky Raven next. Bradford is second to last. And Time and Beyond, the even money favorite, will have to pass every horse today. And he's got about a dozen lengths to make up. Is getting to the outside around the far turn. Welcome to Arkansas at a big price taking over. Welcome to Arkansas, 74-1. Kicks it in a gear, opens up 2. Money Strike calls it a day. Hess in an all-out drive. God's Country swings deep for the stretch drive, gathering momentum outside. And then comes Task down at the rail, approaching the furlong pole. Welcome to Arkansas starts to struggle. Here's Hess Between Horses, God's Country, Secret Strategy, Task, 4th and 5th as they hit the 16th pole. It's Hess, the first-time starter, kicking on. God's Country not going to get him. And Hess, well-conditioned by Randy Morse on debut, wins it by 2.5 lengths under Martin Garcia. Task rallies for second, God's Country third.
Randy Morse gets the job done with Martin Garcia, and this was the first-time starter in here. The lone first-time starter, if I'm not mistaken, in here, gets the job done. And Task flew for second.
Yeah, flew home for second, but Hess was good. Didn't break particularly sharp, was hustled into the race, kept to task by Martin Garcia, and a really nice job by Randy Morse having this horse ready. And guys, Happy New Year to all of you, and I just can't tell you how blessed and happy I am to get the opportunity to work with you guys on a consistent basis.
100%. Lafitte, Andy, Maggie, ditto. Love y'all.
Great stuff all weekend, guys. Thanks so much. New Year's Day complete at Oaklawn Hess. A precocity kind of a thing in that family, I guess?
That's amazing that there would be halves to win their debuts in less than a month for the same.
Really
that
cool.
is really pretty cool as the Archie Breds. I like that. And good job by Randy Morse having them both ready.
Hess out at Oaklawn Park. Thanks so much for joining us. Look forward to seeing you on Friday at 2:30 here at Aqueduct today, and the new year kicking off with Thrill of It. John Terranova, owner, trainer, had him ready to roll. Jose Gomez guiding him home. Smiling, posing in the winner's circle, and moments ago at Oaklawn, a fired-up Christian Torres in Catching Freedom, 10 points towards the Kentucky Derby, victorious in the Smarty Jones. Have a great night, everyone. Happy New Year.
War Dancer, New York's leading turf sire again in 2023 with standouts like Barrage at Saratoga.
Here's Barrage with a final surge. Barrage got him.
War Saichi dominant on the dirt at Finger Lakes.
War Saichi has scampered well clear. War Saichi all the way with the top spot.
And Danzig Queen on the tap of the surface at Woodbine.
And Danzig Queen will come away and win by a length.
Consistently producing winners on dirt, turf, and synthetic. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program. When shopping for your next race prospect, consider that New York Breds start with an advantage. Our New York Breds run for serious green. At Saratoga Race Meet, New York Bred maidens run for up to $88,000. New York Bred allowance horses run for up to $100,000. And New York Bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race. So get back with the program. Seriously.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.